Debate, Uncut and After Show. I'm your host Nathan Oakley, and if you are new to this channel, or you've not done so already, then be sure to subscribe. Hit the bell notification icon and join button if you'd like to become a Nathan Oakley 1980 channel member and keep up to date with the Flat Earth debate. If you would like to support the channel, there is a super chat that runs alongside each of these shows while they premiere, and there's also a coffee, Patreon, crypto and thanks button in the info box below the video. Speaking of Patrons, I'm going to do a quick shout out to all of you who do support me on Patreon. So, a massive shout of thanks and appreciation to Level Playing Poem, Amish, Vitali Z, Colton James, BG, Survive the Spin, FE Patriot, Steve, On the Level, Thomas van der Zander, Gary Hughes, Measured Flat, Chris Wouters, No Smart Comments, Mitch Kennedy, Rod, The Name's Burley, Twad Wazzle, Jason Hornsby, Christoph Fournier, Flat Earth Travolta, JMals24, Unamento, M, Iron26, Endless, Golden McKinnon, Retro Bill, John Kays, Patrick Gunnels, Banter, Mel B. Styles, Hairy Blade, Mobile Max 777, Rob W, Del West Watson, Unbelievable Productions, Blue Ridge Ranger, Abraham Mohammed, Skeptic 936, Texas Mike, Chow Young Cat, David Wayne, Foster, and Dank. And so another massive thank you to all of you for supporting me on Patreon. Links to Patreon are below this video. And with that, I'll hand across to whoever is in the Politics Discord server and G+, so you can enjoy their dulcet tones while I set up for today's live show.
When I was thinking that there's no consequence to anything, it's just all relative, you know, I live on a spinning ball. It's essentially just, you know, the golden ticket for, hey, just do what thou wilt, right? For the satanic mindset. This is why I think many anti-flat earthers want to keep the globe, because they're just too afraid of change. And I'm happy that I'm not a monkey, a fish monkey. Or some kind of other animal.
Did you say fish monkey?
Yeah.
That's funny.
But according to Darwinism, humans are fish monkeys, aren't they? You know,
Yeah.
one's like swimming in the pond scum and then suddenly deciding to say, you know, I don't want to be in that pond scum anymore. I just want to be like a fish monkey crawling on land. I mean, it's just so ridiculous, man. Like, and they tell me I'm ridiculous for believing in a creator, right? If I make things, I know I made something because I created it. If I drive my car, I know someone was literally putting a lot of brain power into this so I can drive this and I can get from A to B, right? But no, if it comes to the whole thing, when it comes to everything that exists, that was just pure coincidence, right? So they laugh about you for believing in a creator, but they think it's absolutely normal to think you have been pond scum or a fish monkey at some point. What the heck? This is the times we live in. Imagine telling this someone 100 years ago in Western Europe or even anywhere in the world. They would laugh at you. And now it's standard education. What the heck? What is going on, man? This is beyond any this is beyond any Hollywood movie, right? But this is reality. This is, you know, I think this will never get boring to me. I wake up every day and think, wow, we live in a world where people have been normalized to think they're fish monkeys and they live on a spinning ball. What the heck? Dystopian. Yeah, I know, T, but just reflect upon what is being educated to the people and what they think is wisdom, true wisdom, knowing they're fish monkeys coming from pond scum and living on a spinning wobbling to that space ball. Can you imagine that? This is the world we wake up in, every morning. And it gets even worse, right? They're parading down the street and marching down and thinking they're the wise ones. And I'm not even talking about the deepest depth of giving over into a reprobate mind, right? I'm just talking about what everybody is being taught as education, right? This can lead to so much more disgusting things, I would say. But I don't want to talk about that in here.
I think it's always been the case that the majority of people just believe what they're told to believe.
I agree 100%. But it hasn't been always the case in history that they've been taught to live on this ball. It's actually a very young concept. And it came right around the corner by coincidence, right after the Reformation. The Jesuits pushed this heliocentric agenda, right after the people could actually read the word of God for themselves. Very strange, isn't it? Suddenly you get the globe ball earth belief and a complete change in creation story from the same people who claim to be followers of the one who already gave you a creation story. Very weird. It's almost like as if they're just masquerading as the very thing they claim to be.
I mean, there was times when people were told if they sacrifice the right thing that the weather will change, or the crops will do very well this year, just as long as they sacrifice the right object, or human, as the case may be. People can be manipulated into all sorts of nonsense. I don't think it's the natural average state of humanity to think for itself.
Are you talking about the Old Testament, the beginning of creation, and how the
I mean,
was populated?
there's been other societies that have done similar things, like Aztecs or pagans. At different points, people have fallen into all sorts of bizarre and strange beliefs.
Okay, good thing is that we have Jesus Christ, therefore nobody needs to sacrifice any animals anymore.
Yeah, we'll see what the future brings, eh?
Well, two paths, right? You can decide. Either you take the mark and you follow the beast system, or you're gonna be against it. Essentially, give your life to be against the New World Order. See, there will be public executions again in the future. If you think that they can't bring people down to thinking that it's justified to kill someone for going against the beast system, then you're wrong.
Got a couple of new people in chat, guys. We've got Pelt, who's joined us. Bug Friend in brackets. What's up, Pelt? Bug Friend in brackets. What brings you to our little corner of the internet? Flat Earth.
Morning. Seeking knowledge and listening while I'm at work. How about yourselves? How are you doing this morning?
Yeah, really
Very
well,
good.
thank you, friend. Yeah, doing really well. What type of knowledge are you seeking? How the Earth's measured flat, that type of stuff?
Oh, it's fun coming in here and listening to you guys destroy the Globers.
Yeah, that's an hourly occurrence these days. Just have to tell them how the Earth's measured flat.
Seems like it, yeah. Any good takers this morning?
Just the usual spurging out and upset people coming in here trying to troll us. As soon as you mention that the Earth's measured flat, yeah.
No, that's no good. I mean, I guess it's good, depending on your view.
Mm-hmm. So, am I assuming correctly you understand that the Earth is measured flat, yeah?
Of course. It can't be
Awesome.
anything other than a plane.
Absolutely correct, my friend. Well done. Welcome to the channel. How long have you studied the subject, may I ask?
I started within the last few years. Progressively, things have become more apparent.
What kind of opened your eyes to the subject, my friend?
Mostly this room, actually.
Oh, wow. Thank you very much. We appreciate that. So, what was said? How did we bring that truth to you?
I forget who it was. They were talking mostly about gas pressure.
Oh, okay. That's always a good one. Can't have gas pressure without a container. Yeah, that's one of my favourite subjects, to be fair. It's probably one of the things that turned me, I think, understanding that you can't have this system of uncontained gas pressure not dispersing into a vacuum. That was probably one of the first steps that I took. So, yeah, I understand that.
I apologize if you hear some background noise. Like I said, I'm at work, so I'll go on push to talk.
I appreciate your politeness there, mate. Thank you very much.
Absolutely.
Love it. You're like one of those guard dogs, Jedi. Sniffing around
Yes.
strangers.
It's very true. Welcome. Good morning, Nathan. How are you?
I'm good. How are you?
Did you go ice skating yesterday? Did you have fun?
I did.
Good stuff.
I tried to upload some videos
Wow.
to Skype. I just couldn't get my phone to do them. I hate my current phone.
What fun
Anyway.
have you got?
I don't even know what brand it is. I've no idea. I had a viewer of the show just send it to me because
Oh, okay.
I don't even know where my old phone is, but I'm I'm very bad with phones. I don't tend to carry them around very much, and yeah. But in any event, someone sent me a phone and I shoved my SIM card in it and didn't transfer anything onto it, and then over time it's just become the phone that I use. nothing works on it. So I go to send someone pictures from Skype and it just sits there with a whirly whirl and you're like, ugh. Anyway, first world problems.
First world problems. You're a bit early. Are you doing an early show today, or are you spending some more time with us today?
I'm spending some more time with you. There's other motivations
Awesome.
as well. I typically
Good stuff.
find that there's more Aussies here if I come earlier. So there's a good chance that they'll all disappear as the night rolls in, right? For them.
I have a question real quick. Sorry, it might be a bit off topic, but it's for you guys that live in the United Kingdom. What is like the you know, the biggest distance you could drive from A to B in the UK? And how long would it take with the car?
Okay, so that's for us John O'Groats to Land's End. Do you want me to look it up?
Yeah,
It's about,
just interested.
about 700 miles, about 15 to 20 hours, something like that.
Really?
Yeah.
That big? I mean, I'm not saying like left and right and curves. I'm just saying like an efficient straight A to B. So you would cross like top to I mean, there's no top and bottom, but from you know what I mean, right? I mean,
Okay, so
you
it
can't
is
drive very long even.
603 miles
Sorry.
or 970 kilometres from John O'Groats,
Oh,
which is
wow.
John O apostrophe Groats, to Land's End. So from the top of Scotland all the way to the bottom of England.
And what if it's just England?
I don't know. That's only maybe 200 miles, I would guess. 250 miles. I could go anywhere in a day here if I wanted to. So when I was a rep, I would drive all over the country, England and Ireland and Europe for that matter, but mostly the island that I'm on is where I would drive, right? So up to Scotland and back down again. And I like driving, but I didn't like staying in hotels. So I would often drive to my location, wherever it may be, do my trip, whatever it is I was there to do, and then come home. Whereas the majority of reps in this country would stay at the location they're driven to for 2 or 3 hours. Me, I'm like, nah, I'd rather drive home because I can. So, for instance, if you drive up to Scotland, or when I drove up to Scotland, it would take me 8 hours. But as far as I'm concerned, you're up there for 2 or 3 hours and then you drive home for 8 hours. You know, no big deal. I wouldn't do it now. I'm too old. But, you know, back when I was fit and young.
That's cool. That's very practical.
So it takes 14 hours, according to Google Maps, to drive from John O'Groats to Land's End. But as you could probably imagine, the only reason I know it off the top of my head is because people try and do it quicker than what the map would say. Right. So I'm sure people have probably done it in 6 or 7 hours, absolutely flat out, non-stop.
You know, what I found crazy, because I'm asking this is just to get a grasp of what size certain parts of the world are. But still, the one thing that up to this point really blows my mind is Australia. There was like a German guy who talked to me, lived 20 years in Australia, and his first works he did when he started to live there was for one guy and his animal farm. And this was just one guy owning land, and it took him 3 days, almost 3 days, with a car to drive along the fence line of that one guy possessing the land to check the fence, right? And he said this is an equal to a drive of the size of half of Germany. And that really blew my mind. I'm like, what the heck? One guy owning as much land as the half of the country I live in.
Yeah, it's not just I'm going to drive to the other side of Australia now. It's like, that's going to be an enormous endeavour.
Yeah.
And there's no, the two main cities.
I was so indoctrinated. Sorry.
I was just going to say the two main cities are on like opposite sides of Australia, and people don't like commute between them. You'd be taking a plane.
Right. But I was so indoctrinated. I actually thought, until the guy taught me that, I never thought about the sizes. I actually thought like, yeah, Europe and here where I live is already kind of huge, and we have like most of the land or whatnot. But it is actually very strange. Like, I don't know. I don't know why, but in my brain, I never really realized how big other parts of the world are, especially not Australia.
Right.
And it's mostly empty. It is uninhibited, right?
Well, mostly uninhabitable, right? It's mostly bush, and even if you drive a car there, your car gets shagged because it's going to get filled up with sand. So it's not like it's really useful, fertile land that you're talking about for the most part. It's not.
Okay.
Mate, I live here, and I still, for the life of me, don't understand why they call it the bush. It's just dirt and rocks for most of it.
It's not useful.
Dirt and rocks.
There's a difference between the bush and the outback.
Yeah.
I think he's asking. I don't think that was rhetorical. What's the difference?
Well, the bush has bushes and the outback doesn't.
Makes sense.
So, T-Dub, do you also have like a car with like a lot of space for fuel? Like extra tanks or stuff like that?
As far as driving across the country there, Clay, I think you only have to go 143 kilometres. If your car can go further than that on one tank of fuel, you can get across the country because there's service stations most of the way.
I love it. You'll be all right. Next service station, it's less than a couple of 100 miles. You'll be fine. That's
It
like
never used to be
the
like
majority
that.
of the country here. We're worried if there's not a petrol station next street over. We want one between towns.
Years ago, you used to have to carry jerry cans and have long-range fuel tanks, but not so much anymore.
Easy. I don't even want to know how many times the space I live in would fit in just, Australia.
I like watching the shorts videos.
The crazy thing is...
Sorry, just because it's funny, watching the shorts videos with the rental company in Oz. And like someone comes up to the desk and they're like renting the car. And the guy behind the desk like, "You're not taking this to the bush, are you?" And the guy's like, No, mate, no, definitely not. And then the next cuts to the gauges filling up with sand, like inside the car, the petrol gauge and the speedo and the taco all filling up with sand. Love it.
Yeah, I gotta just say one more thing. The British accent and Australian accent are one of the best, especially when it comes to comedy. Like, I don't know what it
English
is about
better.
this type. Yeah. I mean, British accent is top notch when it comes to comedy and stuff. I like watching funny comedians from the UK. But the Australian accent is also very special, and it's both the mixture of it, man. I don't know what it is, but sorry, Americans, but your accent is pretty boring.
And loud.
Australians can be pretty loud too.
No
Australians?
comment.
Yeah, I suppose so. Everyone's really far away, though, aren't they?
Breeds. Yeah, we have to shout.
I mean, I can just jump in my car, and in 30 minutes, I'm in a different country. Put another 30 minutes on there, and I'm in another different country. I'm in another country. In another 30 minutes, I'm in another country.
Well, where are you?
So I live close to Luxembourg.
I was going to say,
Yeah, that's not a real
Luxembourg's got
country.
to be involved somewhere along this journey for you to have gone through
Liechtenstein.
3.
Yeah, I could do Luxembourg, Netherlands, and then Belgium, and it wouldn't take as much as you would think. A very short
Yeah,
hops.
that's because Luxembourg is
between the borders.
basically smaller than every American city that exists.
Basically, yeah.
There's a few places
But
you can do that
it's-
in Europe.
But it's nice. Luxembourg is really nice. Like, especially Luxembourg City.
I used to do that, not regularly,
Favourite,
but I've done that several times, driven across the entirety of Europe in a day. I remember doing it once and getting a ticket when I was a quarter of a mile from home. The last overtake of a journey that had been across the whole of Europe, most of it with the boss sat next to me, egging me on to drive faster. And then no tickets, nothing, no speeding fines. Get back into the country, all the way up the motorway, avoid horrendous traffic in London by taking back roads and just nailing it through these back roads. Get back to the last dual carriageway before my house. Woo, woo! Oh my God! I've been driving for about 18 hours. Pull me over in McDonald's.
Welcome home.
Bastards. Any particular reason you were overtaking that car at 80 miles an hour? No. Have you been drinking this evening? I thought, no, but I've been driving for 18 hours. I'm not going to tell you that or you'll have me for driving without due care. No, officer. Can you blow into this, please? I'm going to issue you with 3 points for driving without... Oh, piss off. Couldn't you just let me off? Anyway,
It's got a
yeah, you can
And
drive
have you,
across huge amounts of country. If you're driving through Europe, yeah, you're driving through lots of countries like maybe the Americans would drive through states.
And have you driven on the Autobahn, unlimited?
Yeah.
In Germany?
Yeah. I got on it the wrong way once with a whole load of Germans in the car with me, and they said they didn't say a word. I was going the wrong way on the Autobahn. And the only indication that I'd done something wrong, again, just driving really, really tired, was the sat-nav on the Audi that I had, which was quite a big TV screen in the middle of the dash, just went black, and it put a red, what looks like a no entry sign, like a red bar with a circle around it. And that was it. I'd never seen it before. What's going on with this sat-nav? And I think there was 3 German guys, reps and a dealer, sat around me. None of them said anything. Perfectly calm. I'm like, oh, just pull off.
Really?
Yeah, I was going the wrong way on the Autobahn.
What the heck?
It was probably one or two in the morning. There was nobody on it, but I'd just taken the wrong exit, like taken an off ramp instead of an on ramp. They didn't say a word. Nobody said anything till afterwards.
What?
And it was only because of the sat nav. I remember saying to them, "I wonder what went wrong with my sat nav." They're like, "You were going the wrong way on the road."
Either they didn't notice, or it's the typical German. Oh, let's just wait a bit before we say something.
That's the latter. It was the latter. They absolutely knew, because when I asked them, because I had no idea until the following day when I'm like, I wonder why my sat nav did that. It was really bizarre because it's full European software. I've paid for the software to be European maps, and it should just work perfectly. They're all up to date. They're like, you were driving the wrong way on the road. This was my dealer, I believe. I can't remember. So he knew. They just didn't say anything. I'm like, I wonder why this is going on. I'm talking to myself whilst driving, going, I wonder why the sat nav's doing that. I'm going the wrong way on freaking Autobahn.
You know,
at 1 in the morning.
Germans are kind of like this, you know, like a guy like hanging on a rope and he's about to fall, and they're like, yeah, let's just wait a bit. Maybe he can get it, figure it out himself. And then he drops to the ground and splashes, and Germans are like, oh, okay, well, he didn't make it. Should have maybe helped him earlier.
Yes, they've got a very, what we would call a flat affect. They're very unfazed by things, both before and after events.
Yep.
Stum.
Yeah, that's true. We are very yeah, I mean if Italians are the ones that have this powerful, emotional, good vibe thing, then the Germans are the complete opposite.
Yes, if you had a scale, everything is over dramatic and played up and flamboyant if you're Italian, and if you're German, everything's kept very even, very neutral, very plain,
Yep.
but also very efficient,
Something
very
in
clean.
the water of the Mediterranean.
Say again?
There's something in the water in the Mediterranean. Drives people mad.
Yeah.
All the countries along that coastline.
Oh man, I was just how is it even possible?
Say again?
Someone tagged me about a fine experience. Someone who's too scared to come in here and debate. That's what just happened. You have been tagged also on the server.
Well, I'm here.
Yeah, just
What more can I do?
look at the server.
I'm looking at it.
Nothing. It's just
So I'm looking at
it's
it.
just some guy hiding from us. Probably listening on a YouTube live stream.
A lot of them are just shit scared to open their mic because they know they're going to have a
Man,
breakdown.
if this guy's taking some.
They're just barely
I'm-
self-aware enough to know that they will melt down if they try to talk about this. So the best they can do is just, post quips in text chat and then think they won the internet for the day.
Well, I've come to
Right.
realise that
Good thing I just blocked him.
there's no need. They're seeking pain relief, right?
Yeah. I was saying the exact same thing yesterday, man. I was saying we guys are helping these people so many times, but just let them cry out, because they make themselves look like buffoons. And when they are in this state of pain relief, they don't really listen to anything we have to say, right? They just want to cry like little babies and get attention. So then just let them cry until they stop talking, and then you can maybe see that, But what we do most of the time, we react to their crying, and we're actually helping them, thinking, "Oh, let's, petty the kid and help him to understand." But they're not receiving in that moment. If they're in the cry moment, if the "where does flat earth hurt me" moment, they
Yeah.
don't really receive anything.
Yeah, like I say, they're not here to hear a rational rebuttal to their position. That's not what they're here for. So if they're not achieving what they are here for, which is pain relief, then they'll lash out, talk over you, whatever.
Yep.
It shows quite the contradiction. Like we had people who signed this petition that have the channel shut down, and they'll say they want flat earthers around because it's peak entertainment value. Well, which one is it? Because I see your name on the petition to have the channel deleted, and you think it's entertaining. Are your wires crossed or something? Do you find like is some houses opposite day? Things that are entertaining are not entertaining or not fun to listen to, and then things you want shut down, you actually don't want shut down. It's like they're going back and forth from one contradiction to the next, and they think it's your fault. No, I'm not responsible for what you do.
It's part wishful thinking, isn't it? So, it's just a folly, it's amusing. Flat earthers, ha ha ha. Until something that they see and it scares them. Then they want it removed so that it doesn't scare them anymore.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, that Mick Duffy is one of the biggest, guys for that. He says flat earthers are all awful, evil, disgusting people. Their kids should be taken away from them. They should lose the internet. Oh, hey, flat earthers, come to my YouTube channel and discuss this topic because it's fun and engaging. I want people to click on my YouTube videos. Which one, dipshit? That's the direct contradiction. Is flat earth a harmful conspiracy theory, or It's your full bread and butter. It's how you get paid. Which one is it?
Most people just aren't rational. You know,
Emotion. That's what it is.
Many so-called flat earthers aren't particularly rational either. Like, it's just another. Not common to be rational. I'll say that.
By many, do you mean most?
I won't put a number on it.
I would say most flat earthers are irrational because they're handpicked to be flat earthers by the route that they have found flat earth through. So most, if not all, flat earthers have found their way to the subject through a conspiratorial path. Therefore,
Yeah, I did too.
Are automatically predisposed to being that way, aren't they?
I mean, I'm not quite a conspiratard, but I've always been fascinated by it since 9/11.
There you go.
I never came to strong conclusions about any of it, other than the fact that pretty much all official stories about contentious events are probably bullshit to some degree.
Yeah, baby hoaxes.
Yo, Oakley, what up, brother?
Hey, sir. Long time no see. How are you?
I know, I miss you. I'm doing well, brother. I miss you, dude. Fucking
me too.
I miss the excitement of flat Earth, man. It's good to get back in here. I had a question though. Check this out, just along the lines of the topic, even, which I was kind of fuddled. Or, what do you think of this question, Oakley? What would your answer be? If you had to vote for president of the world, right? Would you choose a flat earther or a glober right now?
It's a good question because right this second, I would probably. If it's a hard question to answer because by implication,
Right?
you're saying that if they're a glober, it means that they've got this bias towards the globe generally. They've got a globe heart, if you will, as opposed to a flat earth heart. Whereas I would want somebody that was kind of indifferent about both. You know what I mean?
It depends if you want chaos or stability.
If you ask me that question in 2 years, Issa, I'd say a flat earther, because I would hope 2 years from now, the people who were flat earthers didn't have a flat earth belief, which they've had for the last 10 years. They'd know it's flat, therefore would be the more rational, because they'd be leaning into things like measurements when it comes to Earth, rather than whether or not there are any planes, therefore flat Earth, if you know what I mean. So I'm going to go with globe earther today, because I think most flat earthers, if not all flat earthers, are only flat earthers because they've come via conspiracy. Therefore, haven't necessarily got their head screwed on well enough.
That's kind of my answer to that question, because I was like, man, it sucks that it was just funny how the gentleman just said how rationalism isn't necessarily found on either side of the aisle. Do you know what I mean? Like, that's just funny. But yeah, I thought the question was interesting. What about flat Earth kicking the shit out of the globe every fucking day though these days?
I don't like that either.
Like,
don't swear, because
what's that? You don't like
swear.
it?
Create a good impression, because I'm going to be live in about an hour and a half, and I want people to try and get in the mood of not swearing. Anyway, that aside,
fair enough.
I've tried to steer people away from that.
That's part of my. Yeah.
So you're asking, how about us kicking the crap out of the globe? Well, my attitude in the last year, Issa, as we haven't seen each other for at least a year, is don't do that. Who cares what you know is now not true when you know Earth is measured flat? So back when you were saying, I can't remember how many nautical miles you ascribed to the area that's measured flat with celestial navigation. It's vastly bigger than you were saying back in the day. But that alludes to the idea that you know Earth's measured flat and have done for many years, right, Issa? That's what we should lead with. Not why the Earth is not a globe. Make sense?
Right, but why it's flat. Yeah. No. I agree 100%. That's what I'm like. I'm just amped to see, the guy Bryce Mitchell.
Yeah.
Bryce Mitchell, the MMA fighter, talking flat Earth. Just all of it. It's just unleashing right now, and it's so interesting because it's like. I think for any of us who were kind of like
we were critical of Bryce Mitchell too. This was only a couple of days ago. So his standards are biblical. We're like, fine, that's perfectly reasonable for you. But if you're trying to convert next man, lean on measurements. If you want to justify and back up your measurements that you know Earth is flat with, then you can lean on the Bible after the fact and say, look, as it also says in the Bible, and I can show how Earth is functionally measured, navigated, built on, flat. And here the Bible says the same, because it is. As opposed to the Bible says it's flat, so it's flat. Fine for you, not so fine for Mr. Next Man.
Well, regardless, in the sense that, like, even just saying flat Earth is the mind virus, you know what I mean? Which sends people on a loop, which is just in itself, for whatever purposes, it's just the fact that somebody says flat Earth, the fact that it's in the lexicon, the fact that there's more people that criticize, how Globers used to get away with just a blanket statement of like, ha ha ha, these people are retarded. And then it'd be like, nobody would react. Now it's like, normies are reacting. You know what I mean? And writing in like, hey, well, looks flat. What about this? And what about that? And da-da-da-da-da. Have you seen the footage of the Italian guy talking about the moon landing? Like the New Yorker?
No.
He's like, who the fuck was on the, pardon me language. He's like, but he's going in. He's like, who the hell's filming this guy land on the thing? Who was the first guy to land on the fucking moon? It's hilarious, dude. It's
Okay.
Oakley, you should have it, man, because this guy's just ripping into the moon landing, and he's like, just your average New Yorker guy trying to explain it to somebody how stupid it is. Somebody who's filming the moon landing.
You've done that. I've done that, right? Do you know the official NASA rhetoric? Before I point out why we would just not even, we typically don't cover NASA at all. I'll tell you why in a minute. But do you know the official story behind that? How do they get the shots of them taking off in the LEM or LM or whatever? The thing that boosted off the moon.
I have a feeling that I know it, but I don't. Please tell it to me, because it's laughable. But the idea that it's waking up our public, man. Like, dude, right? It's like if you're the tip of the spear, it doesn't matter how far, you can't explain to the masses what you're seeing or what you're comprehending. But eventually they'll get it. You know what I mean? And it's like, for those of us in the arguments of like for me, and like the idea that gravity exists and our argument is about the cause, not the effect, and all those kinds of like nitpicky kind of things. And the way that elaborate the scientific mind to come to flat Earth. And I think, but at the same time, like there's like this overall view of just the fact that it's entering the lexicon, that it's there, and the idea that these videos are pointing out. Because my whole thing has always been that, like, and this is what scared me, is that I don't want people to hate. I don't want people to throw the baby out with the bathwater in the sense of what Americana is, because a bunch of Nazis pretended that they landed on the moon. Do you know what I mean?
I do and I don't. It's. I'll just tell you why we don't talk about NASA. So my comparison when it comes to NASA is Narnia. There's an area that you can't go to that other men claim to go via a wardrobe and take pictures of lions. Likewise, there's a men claiming to go into an area of volume, 10 to the minus 17 torr, a sky vacuum, that violates a law of nature known as the second law of thermodynamics. Gas fills space. We would have never developed gas pressure if the sky was a vacuum. Now, when you know that, everything that is claimed to come from there, including but not limited to trips to the moon, is bunk. All of it. Instantly. So whenever anything like NASA comes up, it's just automatically all gas fill space.
See, but Oakley, if like the question is also too is like, is the aim, let's say for yourself, like to wake up the masses, or is your aim to decipher the intricacies?
You really want to know
the science? Yeah.
Well, I've got two hats, Issa. Right today, when opening my bank statement, going, holy crap, did paying for the car really put me that far overdrawn? Today, my motivation is to keep money coming in, because I do this for a living. So this is my job, and I get motivated to keep paying the bills that I scrape by month on month. That's my YouTube
happy for you. I'm happy that you do that, brother. Fuck yeah, dude.
Try not to swear. Right, so that's my YouTube hat. With my flat Earth hat, Mike, I generally try and portion it out in terms of what my motivation is for that given period. So in 2024, my motivation coming here, specifically here, is to tell people like yourself what I've already told you, which is don't lead with Earth's not a ball. Lead with Earth is flat because it's measured flat, and you can prove that. Furthermore, just one more thing. Every globe claim comes from those measurements. The origin of the globe is flat Earth measurements. So once you know that, lead with that.
Yeah, I agree, and I love. That's why I always liked the 600 nautical miles, and it's such a good one. And I was like, it's so beautiful. I've been harping on this point with in debate or whatever of the idea that can we at least agree that mankind's default, empirically, is that the Earth is flat and motionless, and to get them to concede that. And then to like, I always point to Bowditch, because he writes that the Babylonians who mapped the stars were flat earthers, and you know what I mean. So it's like this, like I just find that an interesting point because my goal has always been to,
Why?
you know,
Why were they
just
flat Earthers?
to get our foot into the general public.
No,
you
no,
know what
no.
I mean, conversation. What's
No,
that?
no. Why? So Bowditch says they're flat Earthers when they map the ground with the stars. Okay, but why? Do you know why?
Well, what do you mean, like why? Like, I mean, I think of it as the base position of mankind.
No, no.
Like that would be your.
That's because that's how they measured it.
You know.
That's how they measured it. So what they're measuring with the stars is their elevation angles. That would be the line up between you and the star, and the line along the ground that must be flat for it to form an angle with a 90 degree below each star. That's its ground position. That's how they chart and map the ground.
I agree with you wholeheartedly. And I mean,
well, that's the thing. One sec, Issa. It's not agree disagree. That is how they measured the stars in this regard, and subsequently plotted and charted the ground with respect to the ground positions of the stars. So these are all flat Earth measurements that are absolutely required in order to map and chart the ground. So that's how the globe's also made.
Yeah, no, and that's the point about arguing it with the Globers is the idea that because like I said, like my point in any of this is to introduce these ideas without all the scrutiny of the fucking lefties that come with it bullshit. You know what I mean? So it's like if you can, get them to open their head up to the concept and get the foot in the door. That's like what I think, even intellectually, because like I've always felt like. I've always felt like I wanted to tidy up some of the flat Earth claims. Like I remember, I mean, shoot, and we have, bro. You know what I mean? Like even it's like all of us have, and like, and even just every one of us, man, like that are talking about this or have been for a while. It's like we've tidied up the conversation so that these base claims of like early flat Earth, those provocative ideas, you know what I mean, to show the nuance in them. I just think this is what opens up intellectuals, and this is what people are, looking for to some degree. You know what I mean?
Not
That's
really.
why your show is so big because people are interested in that specifics.
No, I think the specifics that we're given, we've labelled such as the feast of nonsense, which is to say the rhetoric and stories that we come with, things like moon landings and debunking them, gravity, debunking it, Earth as a sphere and debunking it. These are the things that we're given as flat earthers to sort of occupy our time with. And they're all globe-based. Why we don't have gravity, why Earth's not a sphere, why we don't have Earth curve. Yeah? Those are not beneficial to us. So in terms of, you're saying it opens people's ideas or eyes to the concept of a flat Earth? Well, that's bad, because those concepts that they're actually being exposed to are anti-globe concepts, which you've still got a globe involved at some stage. Make sense?
One of the things we were given is don't use the sky to prove the ground.
Yep. Telling the globers don't use the sky to prove the ground when we map and chart the world based on ground positions of the stars. So they're telling us to defeat the globe argument without using the sky, or telling people that that's not how we should. No. Why are we even debating the globe? It's their burden. Let them prove it rather than us come along to debunk it when no one's asking us to. If someone puts a globe claim to me as a result of the last 10 years, I can debunk it. But I've subsequently realised there's no need. I don't care. That's your belief. Keep it. What's that? You want to convert me to it? Oh, no, thanks. Well, are you a flat earther? As you're asking, Earth's just measured flat. Your globe religion comes from those measurements. I don't care what you believe. Me spending all day long telling people why NASA's fake. Why? Keep your belief. I don't care. So I only say that because that's how you opened this as a question, right? Where do you see it going? Are you trying to convert the masses? Nah, keep your globe faith. That's all it is, though. Me, I know how it's measured, and my audience gets to know that.
Oh yeah, I mean, I agree. I just think of it like for public purposes. I've always, even just coming out here, I was always coming out for the debate.
Sure.
But
you've put it really succinctly. For public purposes, the way flat Earth is presented to the public is only tolerable if it's the way they want it to be presented to the public. So when we first arrived on the scene, I could more than happily push 300 live viewers. Why? Because I didn't know what I was doing, and most of what I was doing was regurgitating the feast nonsense. Promote him! The second we figured out that it is actually flat, kibosh, censor them, shut them down. So now, we don't reach the public, we're censored. Right? Congress have told YouTube, don't let people know Earth's flat. Put better, favourable content above it. What, like Simon Dan? Yeah, the one that's getting 150,000 views for a shorts video about saying, Nathan's a Simon Dan fan. Well, why is he saying that? Because I've told him his reference frames are ruined in response to a tweet he sent me about Coriolis being debunked. According to him, these numpties, they'll get the views because he's saying Earth's a globe after a certain point. So now it's like, well, what do I do? Number one, to survive. Still got the car payment, like I said at the beginning. That's one hat I've very much got to take into consideration. Because if I take my eye off that ball for a second, I won't be in here anymore. I'll just go under. Yeah? My bank's already telling me they don't want to give me an overdraft anymore. So I'm like, well, what happens if I can't pay my mortgage that month? You know what I mean? Please let me keep my overdraft. What if I haven't got enough money? Oh, well, responsible lending. Those are my primary concerns, keeping food on the table. I've got 2 kids since starting doing Flat Earth. But as a secondary, this is actually what the show's about, right, with my YouTube hat on. My Flat Earth hat on, my bad. Is to make sure the people who do come to the show know Earth is flat. So should they repeat it, they're not going to say, yeah, I'm a flat earther. Why? Well, because NASA didn't really go to the moon. Because we haven't got Earth curve, we see too far. Those people aren't going to be much use to us because that buys into the feast of nonsense that they want us to be regurgitating and we're happy to promote us when we were. Now that we're not and we're telling people Earth's measured flat for everyone always, they definitely want us at the bottom of the lists. So I just have to make sure the people who do find us do find that out quickly. And by coming to politics and saying, you guys, you flat earthers, do you know that Earth's measured flat? And if they say, yeah, all right, give me one example. And they go, I don't know, water's flat, isn't it? Useless. No. In the case of UEC, you're one step ahead of these people. You don't hang around typically around flat earthers all day long. You've got other stuff to do, I'm sure. But when you dip your toe in, you presumably want to soak up as much as possible. And when you did, you soaked up the elevation angle measurement of Earth process that gives you the stars, charting their positions on the ground beneath them. Well, you already knew about how you get those. It's 5,400 or something if you actually take the maximum elevation angles to things like Polaris, which gives them their radial value, by the way, these flat Earth angles that you happen to already know about. So those are flat Earth measurements. So I want to cut straight to the chase so that anybody lucky enough to find us finds that out immediately and either gets on with their day knowing Earth's measured flat, or they hang around indefinitely so they can debate people.
Yeah, man. Yeah, I think it's good. I mean, shoot, I remember, man, I only got into this YouTube crap because of you guys with the mechanics of the fourth wall back in the day. That was
Tracking
my,
the sun.
that was the best, bro.
Well,
Those were great days.
do you remember Tracking the Sun? Right? You were there, Tracking the Sun live.
Even before that, I was just a fan. I was watching you guys on the mechanics, and I was just like, dude, I love these guys.
Yeah, but now it's come back up, right? When we were intrigued by what the sun will do on a flat Earth, we started looking at it, right? Filming it, tracking it, figuring out how best to take in the information. And we did 2 live events, Tracking the Sun on a flat Earth live, 24 hours of watching the sun, where it is, sunrise, sunset, solar.
Yeah, man.
Remember? Well, now, what is it, 10 years later,
yeah.
They're suddenly all intrigued with what the sun does. You're like, okay. Yeah, we've moved on. But as a hand wave to 10 years of us, specifically us, figuring out how Earth's measured flat, they're under the misapprehension that going and having a look at what the sun does in Antarctica will in any way change how Earth has been measured. flat, that is.
Yeah,
It
it's
won't.
pretty trippy. But I think that's what's, I look at it like whoever's carrying the mantle, you know what I mean, into the public arena, you know what I mean? Because it is interesting. It is coming, like, where they got some trip going, or whatever's going, all that, This is, I don't know, man. This is some
That
interesting
and us,
stuff. I don't
sorry
think.
to disappoint you, we aren't the ones carrying the torch into the public arena. The people who do carry the torch into the public arena are people who believe in something called ether, a fantastical nonsense substance that's unprovable that replaces space, basically. The people, the flat earthers that believe in that, they're the ones that carry the torch for us, so that they're just as stupid and nonsensical, jabbering garbage they can't prove to the audiences that need to hear flat earthers talk.
Though. I think you're going to benefit from that, though. You know what I mean? Like, in the sense that, like, it's like anyone who's just,
no,
you've been in the game for a
so
long time,
I'm sorry to keep disagreeing with you with everything you say. No, they when we point out where they go wrong, for example, talking about science incorrectly, they'll call us scammers. So no, it doesn't benefit us. Quite the contrary, it's detrimental. Where we point out
dude,
arguments
I don't know if you've been in the side chat, but someone is literally, I think, accusing you of scamming people for money for, like, your headlights on your car or something. Like, I'm trying to tell them right now, like, there's a huge possibility you could have gotten hit with an overdraft because of PayPal, and they're just, like, going off.
So let me get straight. People who are in the VC listening to me talk now are pointing out that a couple of weeks ago I needed new headlights and people took pity on me and gave me the money to buy them. Is that correct?
Yeah, they're trying to claim, like, you lied about an overdraft fee or something, and that, like, there's no way you could have gotten an overdraft fee. So I'm trying to explain to them, PayPal literally takes up to 48 hours to deposit money into your account once you do a transfer. And they're trying to tell me that that's not true and that it's instant.
I see.
So I told them it is true.
Before you carry on,
actually can pay to bypass it, and
who
it
cares?
can be
Stop,
quicker,
stop, stop.
but you have to lose some of your money.
Fascinating though this is, I really appreciate you telling me what's going on in the side chat.
Yeah, no problem. It's common sense. Like, I've had PayPal accounts before.
If I could just stop you for a second, if I could just stop you for a moment, thank you. It's fascinating that you're discussing my PayPal habits, and that's wonderful and all. But you're telling me that the side chat, in response to us discussing my endeavours to get flat earthers to talk about Earth being measured flat, is to interrupt me before I finish my sentence when I've asked you 3 times to stop talking. Yes, okay, I'll just try a 4th time. Hopefully you won't repeat about my PayPal and the transfer fees that I don't care about when I'm talking about Earth being measured flat. The response from the side chat, Nathan's got overdraft fees and scams people for headlights on his car. Just answer me this. Does that seem in any way connected to Earth being measured flat with elevation angles to the stars that created our maps? Does that seem connected to you?
Yeah, you're saying that you're doing it through your YouTube account. So it's all connected.
Does that answer my question? Does that answer my question? Does it seem connected? Second time's the charm. My PayPal fees, regardless of what they may be, is that connected to the flat Earth elevation angle measurements being discussed currently? Or not?
Is there a reason to be so hostile to me when I was helping you? You literally just brought up scams, so I chimed in and said, someone's saying you're scamming them right now, so it was all very relevant.
I'm not trying to be hostile to you. I'm trying to ask you if you can see what's happening. They are offering you non sequiturs to the arguments I offer. I offer demonstrable proof that Earth is measured flat, and the side chat, you're still interrupting me, my dear. You're still interrupting me. Do you want to know why I'm being hostile? Because you just interrupted me. Now I'll be really hostile with you. Shut up. They're talking about my bank and how much I earn. I'm poor, so I have to e-beg frequently. Okay, that's dealt with that. Yeah, I'll get overdraft fees. Who cares? Earth's measured flat. The side chat sees fit to talk about my finances. Yeah, I'll talk about them. I'll moan about them. I'm poor. But what I'll also do to earn my living here is tell flat earthers that Earth's measured flat. I also tell them to not chase chaff. Yeah? When you point out Earth's measured flat, there's a good chance you'll be called a scammer. And what's going on in the side chat? I'm being called a scammer? I'm one man. Meanwhile, Earth's measured flat. That's my point. I'm not trying to be hostile to you. I'm trying to point out what's happening. Every time I attempt to, you keep talking.
First of all, that was an extremely unnecessary amount of aggression. Second of all, people tend to overtalk each other on Discord. You could just be polite about it.
You could acknowledge the non sequitur fallacy used by the chat that you've interjected with, but I've made 3 attempts to point out what is essentially a non sequitur fallacy that you've piped up with, and it's not getting acknowledged. I'm being told I'm overly aggressive. Oh, okay, I can smile, no worries. I'll be really pleasant about it. Thank you for your interjection. Yes, I know that people talk over each other in Discord. I've been doing this for 10 years. Thank you for pointing that out. It was really useful. That's sarcasm. Meanwhile, you're dealing with a non sequitur fallacy in the chat there, while we discuss how Earth's measured flat. And it'd be nice if the person interjecting with the non sequitur fallacy on behalf of the chat skanks acknowledged, rather than interrupted incessantly, the fact that it's a non sequitur fallacy. But instead I'm being called aggressive in response to my 4th time pointing out the non sequitur fallacy. Maybe I'll be told I'm being condescending now, who knows? But it's a non sequitur fallacy when I tell people Earth's measured flat. Oh, right, he scams people for car headlights. No, I just didn't have working lights and I've got 2 children in the back of a car that I'd rather not kill and can't afford to pay for them because we're censored to all hell and it's very difficult to make money as someone telling people the truth about how Earth is measured, because most people will focus on whether or not I'm a scammer. No, I'd just like to have working headlights and have to e-beg to pay for that. That's it. Earth's still measured flat, though. Non sequitur from the chat. Thank you for telling me about the non sequiturs from the chat. Yes, I'm well aware that people call me scammers. I was also telling Issa that while he thought it would benefit me that other flat earthers who believe in nonsense like ether go out into the wide world of the public burning the torch of ether, I mean flat earth, that would benefit me. No, they call me a scammer too. When I point out science and its validity, they call me a scammer to my face. The guy carrying that torch was called Witsit, Gets It, and when pointing out his lies and deceit with demonstrable proof and recordings of him lying, and him lying to me in that moment, his response was to call me a scammer. So I get it. I've been here for 10 years. But thank you all the same. I appreciate you letting me know what the side chat is going on. Lovely. Thanks.
Yo, hey, Oakley, why can't, like, I mean, just because I look at it like, I look at it almost like, it's like any kind of group of revolutionists that get torn apart when, like, we essentially hold a common position against another position, right? So, like, our nitpicky like allowing our nitpicky disagreements between, like, let's say, if you will, like, and pardon the language, but like the ranks of flat earthers, like, you know what I mean? Like, as we all stand on this intellectual battlefield, right? Why belittle the forces next to us and the people that are shoulder to shoulder with us against what is, demonstrably,
who are you talking about?
a questionable cosmology? Because, well, I feel like the deeper issue is this, bro. Like, and just speaking of it, like, from my perspective, is the idea that flat Earth is the better philosophy, right?
Not a philosophy.
Like the
It's not a
material.
philosophy.
Real quick, hold on. Let me just make the point, though, real quick, because then I'll let you elaborate. I just want to say, like, in the idea that we're up against this notion of a philosophy difference, and this is what makes lives better or worse, and the idea being that the globe and all the rest of the materialistic rationalism that leads one into materialism, and materialism inevitably leading into, nihilism, and that's clearly what the world's facing. You know what I mean? It's this philosophical fucking deficit. And so, like, I'm just saying, like, in light of all of that and all the good that could come from a different cosmological tweak on the philosophy of mankind, if that, be true, right? And I don't know if you see it like that, but, like, if that be true, then wouldn't it be best that we all kind of stick together in the sense, like I'm happy to see Witsit do his thing. I'm happy to see that the Globers are funding a silly experiment going down to Antarctica. I'm happy that it's all happening. You know what I mean? It's all like, it's still the mind virus of flat Earth. Why be so hostile against it, my brother?
Who?
What is it?
Who's hostile against what? Who are you talking about?
Well, no, I mean, like, about, like, and I don't know the personal beef. I haven't really been checking it, but, like, let's say, like, about calling out the ether guys versus, like, because really they just stand in opposition to they stand in opposition to the same thing that we stand in opposition to.
No, they don't.
And I think, like, even
okay,
with that said,
I've got to be able to respond at some point, Issa.
being the foot in the door?
It's not.
Go on, brother.
It's not a philosophy, and it's not that serious. It's not about nihilism. Earth's just measured flat. So Turning it into a philosophy, it isn't. Turning it into a worldview, paradigm change, no. That's just how it's measured. It's not that serious.
Well, do you not see the implications of like flat Earth philosophically versus the cosmological? Like, do you not? Does that point? Is that point just moot to you? Like, it just.
It's not a philosophy. It is just a measurement. That's how Earth is measured for everyone, always. No philosophy involved.
Well, see, I would dare say that you might be wrong, my brother. Because
okay, so if I
think,
show
like,
you with your example of the nautical mile measurements of the stars, those are elevation angles. They're angles, two straight lines. One's the ground. It's a baseline for an angle. That is a flat Earth prerequisite. It absolutely must be and cannot be anything other than flat to get an angle with respect to the ground. That is a flat Earth measurement. That's not a philosophy. It's a measurement of Earth that's flat. End of story. Earth's measured flat. With your example there, Issa, the Globers use that too. When the Globers come to me and start telling me Earth's a globe because they want to punt their religious belief for pain relief, I go, how'd you know? And then they'll offer me up a measurement with respect to a flat plane, and then I just point out that they've measured Earth flat to believe in a globe. That's what I'd do. Now, if they reject that, I go, oh, right, so you reject your globe then, because that's the measurements for your globe. Like latitude, for example. Or you don't accept latitude wrapped around your globe there based on flat Earth angle measurements off the ground that's flat and must be for it to be an angle. Yeah, you'll need a flat Earth for that. And if you deny it is measured flat, then you deny your globe because it's based on the flat Earth measurements that we measure Earth with. Always will, always have. That's how Earth's measured. It is just flat because we measure it that way.
Right, but what is, see, like, and what are the implications of flat Earth on the world that you're like? Because I mean, like, is there a, because to me, I've always thought of it as more of, it's almost philanthropic to try to like convert or you know what I mean, explain any of this shit to somebody, and
Sure.
because I think of it more as it's the effect of this information more so than the information itself that I think, you know, is something like if there's more sociology involved in this, I think.
Yeah, that messes people up.
Do you know what I mean, brother?
Yeah, it's kind of messed up if you give someone a new belief in replacement of an old one rather than a stone cold fact. As an example, if you're going to say there's no sky vacuum and then base that on natural law and then offer up an ether with absolutely no evidence to do so, to me that seems like you're going to mess people up because you're offering up a belief
there's no reason to
replace
do so,
a belief before I've finished. Yeah, you're offering up a replacement. You said, why would you be hostile to that? And I'm telling you, because it's nonsense that you can't prove. That's why. And that's the paradigm we're coming out of.
Hi, Nathan. What do you...
As we're coming out of a paradigm where we're lied to with nonsense that can't be proven, I think it's best not to do that moving forward. But obviously, you're free to disagree with my objection that I find, how objectionable I find that.
What if the only reason for that, like that fallback, if you will, is only because it's in the language of like Einstein, it's in the language of these guys, and so it's like it's in the language of the body of knowledge that the academia respects. So if it's in there, then it kind of all I think anyone's doing by referencing ether is in the sense referencing what academics have spoken of before that our generation is completely, doesn't even know.
Sure.
You know what I mean? And that's what I think that offers. It doesn't mean that it's right, but at the same time, it's because I think the issue is that you're dealing with one side that is like, I mean, I look at it the shape of the earth, personally as like someone, like if someone's going to try to tell me what the earth is, it's like telling me what happens to you after you die. Do you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, sort of belief based.
Like automatically, like hold on. Automatically, like you're just like I can't believe anything you fucking say, and like and so it's like I just think, and I don't cast that on the flat earthers so much because I think the premise of flat Earth is that we can't ultimately know, but we know that this is how they measured the shit and it looks flat. It's all the rest of it. Like there's a lot of proof, but we're gonna reserve 1% of skepticism. I would hope, and like I just think like same thing with when they're the side that's coming and saying that they know everything for certain. And so when you introduce the wrinkles in the game versus trying to just destroy their position, and you introduce the wrinkles of their game, then that's what opens them up to the next step, which is, you know what I mean, seeing how there are other potentials. I just don't think pigeonholing people that are referencing Einstein and the rest of it as being etherologists versus flat earthers or something. I think we're all on the same team in this, in my perspective, in the grander scheme of things.
No, we're not. There are people who
Hey.
talk crap and make stuff up, and people who
I love
reference
you, brother.
facts and measurements.
You're
That's
so awesome.
Let's try that again. So,
Testing.
no, there are people who make stuff up and talk
Can
nonsense.
you guys hear me?
And yeah, we can, but I'm talking.
Can you guys hear me?
We can, but I'm talking.
All right. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
So there are people who make stuff up and talk nonsense based on no evidence whatsoever, and will parrot that stuff off and lie about it in the face of people pointing out their lies and deceit and lack of evidence. And then there's me and the people around me who just base what we say on facts that we can prove. There's 0% ambiguity. You're like, 1% skepticism. What of? The measurements? Tell me how skeptical you are of an elevation angle and I'll just laugh at you. You're skeptical of these measurements, okay? Fine. You be skeptical of these measurements. I'll just rely on those measurements to not die if I get lost at sea when I measure an angle to a star and put it on a map with a compass, all of which require Earth be measured flat for me to not die. So you can be as skeptical as you like. They're just measurements. So who cares how skeptical people are about them? If people deny them to me, I'll laugh at them. Oh, you want to deny your measurements of Earth? Well, that's how it's measured. Don't have to like it. I don't care.
Hey guys, 24/7 moderation team, real quick. Nathan, you might be interested in having a chat with Colonel Ingus. Colonel Ingus is here. He's got some media connections.
Okay, can you bear with me while I
Colonel
go and have a
Ingus, you
drink?
around?
Oh man, you are catching
We
me
can hang tight.
hard, but sure, yeah. No, you can never catch me off guard. Trust me, I get phone calls all in the middle of the night. So sure, yes.
Okay, give me 30 seconds.
All right, no problem.
What I was going to say a minute ago was Isa, or I think that's what his name was. I
Isa.
think that he should probably drink a lot of water right now. I think that would be a good thing.
A little detox going on, maybe.
Yeah, and that's all I was gonna say. And I know that sounds rude, but I could hear it.
Man, I appreciate you looking out for me, man.
No, really, and it's okay. Trust me. But
no, I do. I do. And what up, Grant? Salute, bro.
Hey. Yeah, Colonel Ingus, this might be an interesting take too, because you're one of the things we talked about, when I invited you to the server, was how people are treated, their opposing point of view. And what's interesting is how you can change spaces and have different reactions. Like me and Nathan Oakley, we get fine, no problem here. But on their server, I was treated like a demonically worshiping witchcraft and was like banned. And like all the globalists did like this clap, like, yay, they got rid of the toxic, flat earth. And it was like the most amazing thing ever. You're like, dude, these people are trying to take your kids away from you, and you banned me so they could clap. And you're like, huh.
I had a question, Nathan. Is it your position that all measurements of the Earth require angle measurements to the surface?
No, I'm just using Isa's example that he had.
Oh. Okay. Do you mind me asking? I don't know if you've ever chatted about this. How do you think GPS works? Is that something you take a position on?
No, but you tell me.
Well, we know how it works in practice, right? So we have time of flight signals. We pull the signals. That tells us the location. There's no angles to the surface required.
From where? Where are the signals coming from?
Above us.
From what?
Oh, well, things that are moving fast.
Why are you being so vague?
Well, I don't want to trigger you. You know, if I use certain words, you get triggered. So
Tell me where they're coming
Just
from.
be
Where are
less
these signals coming from? I'm not going to get triggered. Just tell me where you
Yeah, you gotta be hyper
believe.
specific, dude.
Just tell me where you believe these signals are coming from. Nobody's going to get triggered based on your belief. No worries.
High altitude platforms relative to the Earth.
High altitude. Like how high?
Yeah, oh, we know exactly how high.
What? How do we
About
get high?
22,000
How do you measure
kilometers.
altitude? How's that measured?
You measure it based on time of flight in this case.
Right. How do we measure altitude?
You measure it based on time of flight.
You don't measure altitude based on time of anything.
Are you sure about that?
How do we measure altitude? What is altitude?
Difference from the surface or the center of the coordinate system?
So how is it measured?
I already told you, it's time of flight.
Sorry, surface didn't involve anything when you said time of flight. Now we're talking about the surface. So after me pointing out no, I push you, and you say it's got something to do with now he's talking through me. It seems he's triggered. It seems he's projected his triggered nature straight onto me because he's talking through me. When pushed, is it just me? Yeah, you are triggered, sir. You projected it onto me like you didn't want to trigger me. Yet me pointing out that you say it's time of... There's his triggered nature again as a zealot that needs to chant through me. You say time of flight, and I go, no. And then when pushed,
Hold on.
there's the third interruption from this triggered zealot projecting much triggered man. Hello? Do you need me to smile while I point out triggered you out? That's 3 interruptions. Do you say time of flight? I say no. 5th attempt. When I push you, you say it's got something to do with the surface. So time of flight didn't include the word surface, but now it does because I've pushed you. Yeah, we know it's something to do with the surface. So we'll try that again. Let's see if you can cope. Maybe tell me this is me triggered on, 5 interruptions? No, it's going to be measured from the surface. So maybe we could get a bit more detail about this measurement of altitude. Maybe we could do that.
Yeah, basically, Nathan, that guy's done. He was distracting from, we want you to talk to Colonel Ingus. He's a media personality who's interested in the way people treat each other online.
Fair enough.
And generally, he went through the whole server, and he said politics was a dumpster fire. And I'm like, hey, did you get a chance to check out Flat Earth section? And we talked back and forth for a little while. So I think he'd be interested in compare and contrast, because this guy, Nordwall, runs one of the most toxic anti-Flat Earth servers there are. Like, they over there will not even recognize Flat Earthers as human beings.
Well, fair enough. Can I just make the conclusion to that point? We'll be measuring the altitude just so I can conclude the point. It'd be nice to actually take my victory. Thanks all the same. It'd be nice to actually make the winning statement. If everybody could stop just for a second, given that why is it that I'm still getting spoken through? Thank you, everybody. That was wonderful.
I'm sorry.
I'd just like to make the conclusion, if that's okay, given I just had a back and forth with a guy who interrupted me 5 times. He didn't respond because he had to be shut up because he couldn't shut himself up as I asked him about how altitude was measured from sea level. That would be a flat Earth prerequisite. Is it just me or is there somebody else triggered, presumably with a globe belief that doesn't like me pointing out how altitude's measured off a flat Earth? With sea level. That's sea level. For altitude. Yes, that's right. We'll need a flat Earth to assert how high these... we didn't find out. The guy was pretty vague about where his belief in some signal coming from somewhere at high altitude. So we'll measure Earth flat for what he gave us so far, but he was vague about the rest of his belief, wasn't he? So that's my conclusion. It took a little bit of effort to get it actually to the airwaves. Thank you.
Yeah, well said. Okay, go ahead, Colonel.
Oh, I appreciate that. Yeah, I'm not here to debate Flat Earth. I'm here to talk about communities and how welcoming they are to new people. That's all.
I see. Why have you come here then? I don't understand.
Well, because politics is one of the biggest sort of social media sort of servers on Discord. So
Oh, I
you
see.
start at the top.
Oh, Colonel Guy, I'm really sorry. I'm a guest here, so I didn't. You're here for the server and the community. Gotcha. I'm a guest here too. My bad. Yes, what a wonderful community. Thank you to you all. You're all fantastic. This server's great. I just needed to put that hat on and confused for a second. Yes, wonderful community. Thank you so much for having me.
No. It's just how welcoming are you? If someone is trying to research flat Earth, for example, and they join here, how welcome are they?
I see.
If they ask a question, do you immediately argue with them or do you welcome them?
Depends on the question,
That's
really.
why I'm here.
Depends on the question. So obviously, if someone asks a loaded question or something that has a presupposition as part of the question or infers a belief that I may hold, I might get a bit snappy with them. Depends. I mean, that's me personally, though. That's nothing to do with the community here. How I deal with people. In terms of why you would go onto a server if you want to know how Earth is, surely you just look at how it was measured, as opposed to join a community. That just strikes me as weird. If you want to know how Earth is dealt with, look at how it's measured. Don't go and join a Discord server and start asking questions. Questions won't, lead you to the point that you know how Earth is dealt with functionally, practically.
Has it always been dealt with like that,
that they
Nathan?
bring in.
Hold on, Neil. Go
That's
ahead,
very
Meta.
interesting that you. That's very interesting that you say that. So you say the person shouldn't ask questions and they shouldn't seek a social media place
Incorrect.
to ask any questions. They should just go outside. I don't feel like that's very warm and welcome, right?
I'll just try that again. What Earth is totally non sequitur to what people do in a community sense. Earth is measured flat, and no matter how warm and fuzzy people feel if they join a Discord server, Earth will always be measured flat. I'm suggesting if you want to know what Earth is in that regard, look at the measurements of Earth, not how people respond to questions. How people respond to questions is non sequitur to what Earth is. That's dictated by how it's measured and how it's used functionally. Second time I've said it.
Yeah, okay, one thing too, just to clarify. So this is a special program, the Friday mornings, where Nathan Oakley is part of a group called Ballbusters from another server called Debate Science versus Pseudoscience, or Flat Earth Debate, Science versus Pseudoscience. So this part of the week is a little bit different than every other day. The same thing with Sunday. Sunday, we do Speculation Sunday. And how people interact generally are different because there's a lot of people who know Nathan Oakley and come here to try to pick at him. They're trying to provoke him, like you just saw the last dude. I thought I recognized his voice, but I was tabbed out, and then sure enough, it's one of the most toxic anti-global flat earthers there are. He just came in here to try to provoke a shit show, and then say, "Hey, look at how flat earthers act." That's the part of the context I think you're missing, is that there are some very bad faith actors that hover around flat Earth, and they're stuck in the mud, and they'll never get past it, and they feel like they've been wronged or harmed by flat Earthers in some way, and they want to get even. Those people are treated much differently than some just random person who's like, "Oh, flat Earth, I'm interested to see what that topic is about." And they join and they start asking some like good faith questions like, "Hey, why are you a flat earther? How is the earth measured flat? What other conspiracy theories are you into?" Just trying to understand before.
Like earlier, that person that I heard earlier, that's who you're talking about, right?
Yeah.
Where they were just kind of probing and they were asking dumb shit, right?
Yeah, that's it. Showcase that they are a very low IQ, low educated person who uses Discord the same way they kind of use a video game. They're trying to win. They're trying to win the internet for the day. So you
Okay,
give
I
them
did.
the
I wanted.
stupid prize. Oh, piggy butt. Hold on. They play a stupid game. You give them their stupid prize and let them come back tomorrow and do it all over again. That's a quite different reaction than someone who's going to come in here who's actually curious. Hey, like any of the channels you go into, if you can get about the same reaction that you like, except for some of them are kind of hostile. But like if you go into the other special interest channels, God Ain't Real, Abrahamics, or Christian Chat, and you were to start just asking them some weird questions about not the topic at all, something completely off topic, they'll show you the door. They do not want people in those channels who are there to disrupt. We're here, if there's some dead space, sometimes you'll give them a little bit just for entertainment value. Like just give them to Dance Monkey and get a little laugh at them and watch how they're stuck in the mud and they're freaking out, and then move on to the next caller.
Okay. I want to say something real quick. As a person who has already been labeled an outsider to this community, and I don't even care because I'm not trying to be a part of any community.
Well, it's interesting. I could look at the mod log. You're the type of person I'm talking about. You had been.
I know, that's what I'm saying.
Yeah, you're jumping from channel to channel.
I listen. I
trigger people, right?
No, I'm not trying to trigger anybody.
Well,
I literally
why are you
engage in
going
conversation.
But why are you going channel to channel, getting banned? Next channel, next channel, next channel. What's up with that?
So this is exactly what I was gonna say. Literally, in the last channel I was in, I was discussing nothing that had to do with prove God. And once I started actually having the conversation, and they did not like me having the conversation about God, they banned me. That's the thing that happens. Like,
okay, so how about this?
I don't know what to tell you.
Let's forget about that. So, what question do you have for like Nathan Oakley or just any flat?
I don't even know who Nathan Oakley is.
No worries, Piggy. No worries.
But
just so we round up with the other dude, this Colonel dude. It seems you and I have got different motivations today, right? You're here to assess the psychology of people coming to groups, it seems. I don't know who you are or why you're doing that. Maybe you'll tell us. I don't know. But I've got to do just a quick call to action before you respond, if you don't mind, just because I might not get another chance if the conversation kicks off. So in about half an hour, I'll be going live. As I've said or hinted to already, please do not swear. That's it. I just want to keep the audience that I do have as, or the material that the audience receives as PG as possible. So it can be difficult. I appreciate in the heat of the moment, me included, but try not to swear. That's it.
Is this for the pseudoscience thing?
Yeah. For when Nathan Oakley's live, he wants it to be more of a friendly family show. So yeah, keep the cursing down to like 0.
Okay, I'll definitely do that. I do remember having some interaction with you a couple of days ago. Definitely keep that in mind. I don't know who Nathan Oakley is. I'm not here for you. I pop in here every now and then, and like this guy said, I pop into all the Discords randomly because I want to have conversations, genuine ones, not to talk to anybody specifically or have like this thing. People consider me a troll because my perspectives are outside of their normal worldviews, and the same way this whole flat earth thing gets people to question their worldviews, yes, I do the same thing, and I am considered an outsider to the outsiders.
All right, well said.
Awesome.
So what's your...
Oh, yeah, no, it's going to say the same thing as you, correct? Now that you're here, have you got a question? Piggy Butt.
Do I have a question? No, I don't have any questions.
Okay, buddy, no worries.
Just my best advice would be, if you want to challenge the flat earth point of view from an outsider, at least know what it is.
I don't know what the shape of the earth is. I don't know what's going on. I know that the stuff they say is not true. That's why I'm like, okay, all I know is the narrative that has been fed to us is a lie. And I don't know what the hell is going on. That's all the conclusion that I have come to so far.
Well, that's a good start, because one of the questions a lot of them ask is photographs from space, and why would they lie?
Yeah, I already know that's all fucking why they would lie, and CGI is a thing. I understand and realize that.
And the last thing they do too is like the three major questions, like the average, like the 50%, like on the bell curve. Why would they lie? Photographs from space. Then why would they lie? Minority opinions are just stupid. And then the last thing is, if you're able to get through those hurdles and you'll demonstrate them that people lie for all kinds of different reasons.
Well, it's obviously it's always going to be social manipulation is the main thing.
Yeah, then eventually at some point you start demonstrating flat Earth to them, and they just say it doesn't matter, irrelevant. Earth's a globe. Deal with it.
And the moon, I mean, I think we could all agree there's something up with the moon. I think it is unnatural, if anything.
Yeah, there's an interesting news story. One of my things I do, I look at science and space news and try to pick out the best story of the day. There's a story today that dropped that scientists believe aliens used a giant mothership to rearrange the solar system so that Earth would become habitable.
Yeah, I'm glad we're going to have this pseudoscience conversation because I believe there's a lot of that happening nowadays.
What is that then? What's pseudoscience?
You don't believe that there's a lot of pseudoscience happening nowadays? What are you disagreeing with me about right now? Because that's the only claim I made.
I didn't. I said, what is pseudoscience? Can you define it?
Things that are being passed off as legitimate forms of science that directly correlate to certain strict methodologies.
Close enough. So that claim to be science and have adhered to the scientific method when they haven't. Good enough. So
yes.
Okay. So what's science?
Now you're asking me what is science?
Yeah.
Okay, do you want like the thing that the mainstream claims to be science, or do you want my own perspective of what science is?
Just tell me what it is.
I asked you two questions. Which one would you want? A or B?
I asked you what science is. Just tell me what science is.
And I'm giving you an A or B option. Which one are you picking?
Do you know what science is?
Do you want? Oh my god! I'm not trying to fight or argue with you here.
Could you define what science is? We know what pseudoscience is. Something that's claiming to be science but isn't. So now we need to know what science is. I'm just trying to reiterate my point, and it seems like the last guy, when I talk, you talk. Yeah, this third attempt. I don't need a question back. Do you know what science is or not?
The majority, the mainstream accepted definition of what science is would be the intelligent observation of nature, of reality.
That's just wrong. That isn't science. Do you know what science is? If that you've qualified as being the mainstream explanation, that's wrong. So do you know what science actually is?
Let's hear it. I'm listening.
You said you wanted to throw out the pseudoscience, but it would seem that you wouldn't know what to throw out.
Well, you're the one with all
It seems
the
that you're
answers
talking
here,
through me again. It seems that when I start talking and making you seem a bit silly, you start talking through the top of me. Can you not do that? I won't have to raise my voice and seem demeaning or aggressive like the last lady suggested I was, as she yammered through the top of me. So I'd prefer to just get through the end of my sentences that make you look silly. If you're going to suggest to this crowd that we should throw out the pseudoscience, you need to know what that is. Well, you know what pseudoscience is. It's something that isn't science. But you don't know what science is. Clearly. How do you know what to throw out?
Are you mad because I didn't include the methodology part of the observation of reality? Is that what you're all mad about?
I'm not mad about anything.
Dude, no.
I pointed out I don't need any help. That you don't know what to throw out. That was my last statement. You've ignored it. Your response was non-responsive. It was non sequitur. That is to say, I point out that if you're going to suggest, as you have, that we need to be aware of the pseudoscience out there. Okay, what's that? Stuff that isn't science. Okay, what's science? You don't know. Therefore, you don't know what to throw out. Third time I've put it to you. You can tell me I'm angry.
I'm going to tell you
Correct me
that I
if I'm wrong.
stated science is the intelligent
He
observation.
doesn't need any help either. I just want to hear his response, whoever's talking through that piggy guy. Sorry, Piggy, go ahead.
I think he's hammered. I think he's hammered.
I don't care.
He's
Nobody
another
was
hammered
asking what he
I'm done.
was.
Okay,
Nobody
whatever.
asked you for your opinion on how drunk he is. He says we should throw out pseudoscience. I point out he doesn't know what to throw out. I just want to hear his response. Bloody hell.
I don't know why everyone's disagreeing with me here. I said the intelligent observation of reality is typically what I mean.
That's wrong. I told you that's wrong.
Okay, all right. I'm just
Yeah, so don't stutter at me. Don't stutter at me. Just answer my question that I've put to you now 4 times. Given that you don't know what science is, you don't know what to throw out then, do you?
I guess from your own perspective, no. I don't know.
No, not from my perspective. No, just facts. If you don't know what it isn't, you don't know what to throw out. That's a fact. That's a statement of fact based on what you don't know. You don't know what science is, so don't go around telling people we should be aware, according to you, of what we need to reject. Because you don't know what to reject. So it'd probably be best if you didn't have an opinion on this, given you don't know what you're talking about.
Sorry, can I ask a question, please, Mr. Nathan Oakley?
While I'm in the middle of telling this guy off for babbling nonsense that he doesn't know about? No, I'd prefer you wait till he's responded and acknowledged that he probably shouldn't have an opinion on this because he doesn't know what he's talking about. I'll talk to you after I'm done with him. Sir, Piggy.
Okay, I'm just gonna acknowledge that I'm ignorant and admit defeat and just sit down.
Great. I can lean back in my chair now. No worries. No, that's all I need. No, that's fine. But as I say,
How would you falsify
best,
flat Earth?
probably
Nathan?
best if people don't just jammer through me when I've just taken a nice
How would you
sit back in
falsify
my chair.
flat Earth?
Seems that somebody else is still yammering through me while I've relaxed with this piggly guy who I'm talking to, not anybody else. Thank you, whoever that was. Triggered, clearly. No, that's right. You're not going to trigger me if you don't pretend to be an intellectual knowing about what science is and isn't. Then you won't trigger me. But at the moment you acknowledge, now I'm just... There we go. It's like a third interruption to this single sentence that I haven't said yet. Third interruption. Try that again. Yeah, I'll be perfectly reasonable and amicable if you don't be a pretender clown and pretend that you know what science is and what we should be rejecting. That's what you're advising us. Don't offer people advice about stuff you don't know anything about, and you won't get someone seeming to be annoyed with you. But when you profess to your own ignorance in the subject, they might try and educate you, because now you seem like you might reciprocate. If I'm giving you useful information, you might help me back in return. I've got a whole community, as that's the subject matter of the day, it seems, that support me financially when I give them useful information. But they have to be willing to accept it, to reciprocate it. That is to say, me telling you what science actually is now, that you've been, humble, you might actually listen. You might learn what science is. Yeah? And there might be a lot of people around you that don't want that to happen and interrupt incessantly. But I'm more than willing to educate you about what science actually is now that you've been humble and gone, actually, I don't know. Yeah, good. And I assume you've taken on board that it's probably not a best of ideas to tell people what they should be wary of if you don't know what that is, because then you end up looking a bit silly. But you've been humble, so I won't labour that point.
I'm willing to listen, like you observed so far. Yeah. I want to hear what you have to say.
Fine. We all taught the same thing in school when it comes to science: cause and effect, based on natural phenomena. Observe something happening, ask yourself why that happened, and then vary that which you assume caused it. That being an experiment. Varying the thing you think will cause the effect you observed in nature, that's an experiment. The hypothesis is you formulating the if and then statement with what you think will cause it and what you're looking at. So phenomena and causal influencer. That's a hypothesis. So step 1, observe something occurring in nature. Step 2, formulate a hypothesis with a suggestion of what you think will cause the thing you observed at step 1. Step 3, actualize that supposition. Vary that which you assume causes the effect and see if it causes the effect. That's an experiment. That's it. That's the scientific method. If you've done that...
Can I ask a question?
You could when I'm finished. If you've done that, then you've fulfilled the scientific method and either proven or disproven that which you assume to cause the effect you're studying. That's empirical. The outcome is empirical. You can only prove or disprove that which you assume causes the effect. That's the scientific method. If you don't do that and only that, then it's pseudoscience if claimed to be science. Now I'm done. talking to Piggy.
Okay, so now it sounds like you answered the question at the end there. I was gonna say, are you telling me that is the only form of a correct scientific method? Because
That
from my
is
understanding, I was under the assumption that there's more than one way to skin a cat.
really offer me an alternative empirical methodology for proving the cause of effect. Go. I'll take it from your silence that you don't know an alternative method to prove cause and effect empirically, because you haven't offered one yet.
I think methodology and ideology are pretty.
Do you have another method that proves things or not?
Yes.
Name it, detail the process. Go.
Well, can I just say a sentence real fast? Whether
you could just detail the process that will prove things empirically. You're challenging me detailing quite concisely the singular scientific method. It's singular. The method was detailed by me. You say more than one way to skin a cat. I say give me another empirical method of proving cause. Go. Or concede you don't have one.
Cause. I said there's more than one way to know truth without using this specific scientific method that you are using.
Wait, do you have another one or not?
Yes.
What's the method? What's it called?
The consumption of what we call sacred medicines.
But this isn't science. Sorry, this is not the other scientific method as you've alluded that you have. There is only one scientific method. Sorry, shut up. Medicines, right? Witchcraft, I don't care. If it's not validated by science, then it's not gone through the scientific method, therefore pseudoscience. Look up the definition of these things, yeah? Meanwhile, the application of what I detailed, the singular scientific method, is the method of validating cause and effect relationships observed in nature. It's singular. There isn't another one, and saying, when you're looking at medicines, that doesn't sound like a method to me. You don't know an alternative because there isn't one. It's singular. There's only one scientific method.
Yeah, I disagree, and I think I'm just
going to be done. Don't just disagree. That's infuriating. I've given you 3 opportunities to give me an alternative, and you've said looking at medicine. That's not an alternative method. I don't need any help. Don't need any help as I obliterate this guy and his hand wave. Hello? Whoever's talking while I'm talking, can one of the moderators shut him up? No, when you hand wave me saying the singular scientific method and then detail it, well, I disagree, there's more than one way to skin a cat. No, you're not just going to get your hand wave dismissal and then we move on. You either show me another method that proves things, or you concede you haven't got one. I already know you haven't got one. That's why I'm getting more and more annoyed with you, because you just keep saying, well, I disagree. Like I give a toss. Detail a different method, not observe natural phenomena, formulate hypothesis, actualize hypothesis with experiment. Give me a different method. And if you can't, concede you don't have one. Therefore, no justification for hand-waving my detailed explanation.
I'm conceding. I'm just going to concede. I'm done having this interaction because I really don't feel good with this conversation.
What, being made to look stupid as you disagree with me detailing the scientific method that you failed to when your suggestions of how we should throw the baby out with the bathwater, even though you don't know the difference between the two, you find this troubling, difficult. Yeah, that's because you're being told what's what in the face of your blind ignorance when giving people advice. Shockingly, there's people around you that are more smart than you and know that you're a pretender clown bullshitter, and will call you out on it, and then attempt to educate you on that which you profess to be ignorant, only to have you disagreeing with that which I'm trying to educate you with. Yeah? You're disagreeing with me? Why? Only 3 minutes ago you told me how ignorant you were of the subject. You feel you've got the right to hand wave because there's more than one way to skin a cat. The belligerence and arrogance is absolutely off the scale. I'm not surprised you feel uncomfortable. I'm making you look stupid.
Excuse me?
Yes.
Mr. Nathan Oakley? Yes.
Yes, sir.
I was just wondering, how would you go about measuring the lack of drop over distance?
Measuring the lack of something? What are you talking about?
Regardless the lack of or there is, how would you show that there is no drop over distance?
Regardless of the lack of or there is, how would I measure the drop of something over distance than the lack thereof? That's a stupid question.
I mean, you could do it with triangles.
Is he ignoring my response? Stupid question. I'm not going to measure the lack of something.
That was a stupid question. I thought
Because you
it's
can't
pretty
measure the
valid
lack of
because
something.
You can't measure the lack of something. Can you give an
All right,
example of that?
How many apples am I currently lacking? Give it me in decimal.
Yeah,
How many apples am I lacking? Give me the calculation for how you worked out. I'm responding to you, sir. Yeah, with sarcasm and an example of how stupid your question is. I don't need you yammering through the top of me pointing out just how stupid your question is. When I demand that you tell me how much lack of apples do I have? Tell me how you got to your calculations.
Did you have initially?
Is it just me, or is the conclusion to my statement being talked through by him every time I make it? It's the third attempt. I'd like to... There's him talking again. As I point out that, am I going to get called triggered on the fourth attempt to highlight with example how stupid your question is?
I don't think it's very stupid at all.
It is.
If there is no drop over distance, we can measure that, can't we? I mean, they do it with bridges all the time, apparently.
Okay, drop will be measured with respect to a plane, horizontal. So you'd need a flat Earth. Is it just me, or is this asshole? Just get rid of this asshole. It's not a reasonable conversation. Maybe the guy who was listening out for what the community's like. The community's dire because we're surrounded by wankers who ask me something, and then on the fifth attempt to answer his stupid question that makes no sense, he's still talking through me. So what is it? Nathan's not very welcoming. No. I'm trying to answer his stupid frigging question. Yeah? And I'm not getting the chance. Why? Because he keeps getting triggered. Doesn't he? Drop will be measured with respect to horizontal. Yeah? Like depression angles? Like we measure Earth with depression angles. With respect to horizontal. Eye level. Parallel with surface level. So to answer your question, we'll need a flat Earth to measure drop from. What drop? The lack of it? That's stupid. Sixth time. Any other stupid questions you want to yammer through the response to? Seems like I'm not going to find out how many apples I'm lacking then.
Good morning, everybody.
Morning.
Good morning, Mr. Nathan.
Hello. The other buddies.
Since it's quiet, I guess I'll get my question in now. I'm in my studio.
Who am I
So
talking
on
to?
the
What's your name?
I've been following the Flat Earth Experiment flight pass.
This is a guy called Rob Noxious. I don't want to talk to him. This guy's a stalker, an abusive stalker who sends me private messages with swearing and abuse. Can you please remove him from my presence? I don't want to talk to this abusive person who stalks me and sends abusive messages by private messaging services. Thank you.
All right, so it was also Bob Celeste. I saw their mic was lighting up a couple times, but they didn't get anything out.
Yeah, I was muting up because I'm driving and I didn't want to hot mic.
Oh, okay. Well, I thought maybe you were wanting to jump in, but we're being patient.
I was going to just on the tidbit about empirical methodology, but I thought that what he said was spot on with respect to investigating the Earth or physical phenomenon. I would say that there are other empirical methodologies for different things, like mental science, for instance. But that would be irrelevant to the conversation. So
no, very relevant. Mental science. No, that doesn't follow the scientific method, therefore categorized as pseudoscience, if you're going to call it science, as you've just done. No, mental science, there isn't such a beast. There's no cause and effect reasoning being established through systematic experimentation. So no.
Wait, there's no cause and effect on the way your mind works? On the way the mind works? What are you talking about?
Yeah, hey, Piggy, hold on. Okay, let's wait for...
Why is Piggy popping into this conversation? Sorry, was that Piggy piping in with his ignorance that's been demonstrated? Piggy, I'll just tell you this once. Shut up. You've got no place in this discussion. You're ignorant of everything we talk about here. You don't know what science is. Keep your mouth shut. Maybe you'll learn something.
Sure. So I would say that for one, the notion that like mental phenomena don't work on some sort of like causality principle, I think would probably be erroneous. But if you disagree with that intuition, I'd be interested in understanding why.
Who cares? We're in a flat Earth debate. That's what this server is. I'm here to point out there isn't one. It's measured flat, as opposed to, is it just me or has he opened his mic wide open in the middle of my sentence? Yes, he is definitely causing his hot mic open mic while I'm still talking. Therefore, he's not listening to me. He's opening his mic while I'm talking. So why would I communicate with you, Bob? You can tell me that it's because you're driving, give me some excuse. You're certainly not listening. Because I've already told you why it isn't science. Is his mic opening again, I assume? Or is it someone else? Colonel. Why have you got your mic open, Colonel? Hello? Colonel. Colonel Ingus. Colonel Ingus.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Yeah, I'm producing a show and your mic's wide open, causing disturbance in my audio. Any chance you could put yourself on mic and not do that during my show? Is that possible? Put yourself on local mute there, Colonel. Thanks. Just pop yourself on mute while others are talking, if you don't mind.
Will you promise to do one thing for me?
No.
One thing.
No. You will put yourself on mute, or I'll have you put on mute. Go on mute, because I'm telling you to. Now. Now, or I'll have you muted, you insubordinate man.
Allow people to finish their thought.
I'll do as I damn well choose. I'm producing a show. So I'll tell you what to do, and if you don't, that's what'll happen. One of the moderators who understand that I'm producing a show and don't care who you are or what you want will shut you up. Yeah? You will not be insubordinate when I tell you what to do, given that you've just caused audio chaos. You can just say, sorry, didn't realise my mic was wide open while you were discussing something with someone else. I'm really sorry about that. I'll try not to be so inconsiderate next time, rather than telling me what I'll answer. No, you aren't in charge here. I am. Actually, I'm not. I'm a guest in someone else's server. Thank you, moderators. I do appreciate it. He was causing audio chaos and decided he was going to take charge by asking me something. Meanwhile, Bob, I've explained to you why it's not science. It doesn't comport with the scientific method. Simple. If it can't establish cause and effect through systematic experimentation based on a hypothesis, then it is not science. Please can you mute, Colonel? One of the server moderators had to step in after I told you to and you refused and started asking me something. Now they've taken you off server mute. Please can you put yourself on local mute as requested? Thank you. Bob, I told you why it's not science. Mental science? No, that's pseudoscience. Meanwhile...
Yeah, I would just say that you have a reductionist notion of science, and I think that you're incorrect on this point, but it's not really important to the flat earth discussion.
Oh, it is, because people are under the misapprehension that they know what science is and will hand-wave when I detail cause and effect reasoning based on systematic experimentation with a hypothesis. When I go through what hypothesis construction is, they'll tell me, no, mental science, because hand-wave? No. It doesn't comport with the scientific method, therefore it's not science. You telling me, well, I disagree. Okay, that doesn't mean anything.
Yeah, I'm saying that on this topic, I believe you're conceptually impoverished and believe that the only thing that can qualify as a science is that which is born out of something like the scientific method, which I agree is going to be the best way to glean facts with respect to certain phenomena, such as physical facts. Sure. However, I don't think that certain investigations that we do on things like mental phenomena, for instance, are best suited by the scientific method. Why? Because you can't necessarily control the variables. You can assign parameters and try to do scientific experiments for things like neuroscience and its correlation with mental phenomena. However, when we want to get information such as what do the public on average think about X, right? We would do things like surveys, for example, right? Surveys aren't
science.
Example of
Do I have to listen to this endless tripe about what isn't science? These aren't science. Surveys aren't science. Neural studies and correlation aren't science. Now, you may want to disagree and then waffle on about what surveys are. They are not science. Science is the elucidation of the cause of naturally occurring phenomena. That's physically occurring phenomena in nature can be and has been elucidated by this method called science.
Yeah,
Studies aren't
I don't think he's
science.
talking about.
Surveys aren't science. Correlation is not science. Empirically proven facts established with this method, that's science. Natural science.
I think what
Yes,
he's
well,
Oh, go ahead, Bob.
sorry. Yeah, I was just going to say, right, you add the word natural at the beginning, natural sciences or physical sciences. This modifier is very important because it establishes that not the only science is going to be of a natural or physical kind. When you say things like the social sciences or pseudosciences, well, why would you say that when there are sort of peer-reviewed and verifiable conclusions that come from it just because they're correlative? That's silly, no?
Yeah, I think Bob was talking about survey, not land survey, but survey in a way where you send one mailer out to one neighborhood and then find another neighborhood that has about the same demographics, the same variables, and send a different type of mailer out to that neighborhood and then check for response. How many people responded to the pool clean service? How many people responded to whatever.
Like a survey.
Designed.
Yeah, like a survey. Yeah. It's just not science.
Exactly.
That would be a survey as opposed to science. Science is the elucidation of the cause of naturally occurring phenomena through systematic experimentation based on a hypothesis. That's what science is. Putting leaflets out, finding out what people believe or how their habits are in social terms, none of that's science.
Well, I think there's a lot of historic precedent for a more broader use of science, which could be capitulated in Western philosophy, right? Prior,
no worries.
science was used to simply refer to domains of inquiry, right?
Really?
For which you could create a systematic sort of methodology in gleaning facts, right?
That's fascinating. Do you know what
to a lot of different things.
Do you know what the term pseudoscience means? Do you know what the definition of pseudoscience is?
Yes, I think it's a slur.
Wait, do you know what the definition is?
Something that is pseudoscientific is that which is going to be not in comportment with the scientific method as you'd enumerated prior.
That's correct. Yes, that's correct. Like the things you're detailing and trying to ascribe a more broad sense of science. Yeah, people like to hijack the validity that an empirical method offers by calling social studies and survey science when they're not. But that's why we have this term called pseudoscience, to define that which is not science. Anything that's not been through that method that I've elucidated, that's cause and effect reasoning based on a phenomena with a presumed cause being validated through experimentation. Anything outside of that is not science, is pseudoscience by definition. Now, you might like to prefer science be more broadly defined as stuff that isn't science, but we've got a term for that. It's pseudoscience. Yes.
Just to be clear, that if we were, for example, to have a relatively replicable experimental design, where when we ask subjects, do you think that it's weird to wear a skirt in a workplace interview or something like that?
That's not an experiment. Then you'd be misascribing this term experiment. Then you'd be misascribing the term incorrectly. That's not an experiment. That's you asking a woman whether or not they like wearing skirts. You don't know what an experiment is because you've ascribed incorrectly this term to you asking women questions. They aren't experiments. It's pretty clear you don't know what experiments are because you've just incorrectly ascribed that term to a question about skirts. So I'm pretty clear, I'm sure you would like stuff that isn't science to be science, but it isn't. Like asking women about skirts. That's definitely 100% without question not science. But maybe we could call it social study and then maybe pretend it's science by having a more broad definition. But to avoid people ascribing a more broad definition to something that empirically validates things, we give that a title of pseudoscience to stop pretender clowns and charlatans stealing the valour of an empirical method by having a more broad definition of science. No, it's just stuff that's been empirically validated through experiment, as opposed to questions about their skirts that the women are wearing and that.
Hello, everyone.
Afternoon.
Hello.
Good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
Aloha.
In case you didn't pick up from my introduction, in case there was a bit of rumblings and mutterings going on while I was doing it, please don't swear, just while we're live. That's all I'll ask. my endeavours of being in the politics server, and have been for the last year on a Friday, is to spread the good word of non-anti-globism. That is to say, rather than what we've done for the last 10 years as flat earthers, which is tell people Earth is not a globe, start on the front foot, point out how Earth is actually functionally utilised and measured. That would be flat. No need to defeat people's beliefs. They can present them to you if they wish, and if you're adept at the arguments that have gone over the last 10 years, you'll be able to overcome them. But that shouldn't be your default position as a flat earther. That's why we're here on a Friday. I'm sure there'll be some fun discussions in the meantime with some of the more flamboyant of this particular server. Anyway, good to be here. A fantastic community.
What's your show name? I didn't catch that.
Flat Earth Debate.
Is that on YouTube or Twitch or what?
It is
platform
on
are you
YouTube. Yes, indeedy.
YouTube?
Yes.
Right on.
We are live
Is this an open queue? Like, can we ask a question, or do we have to like get on queue?
Do what you like. It's an open server. I have previously been into this server where we're in a Q&A section in a separated bit of the server, but I'm just in this room as a guest like you are, to be honest. So hopefully it'll go well. But feel free if you've got a question.
Look, like, I'll start it off. No problem. Yeah, I'll start it off. No problem. Thanks for being here. I got a question. So, saw a couple of your videos. You mentioned that 500 years ago or something like that, the Roman Catholic Church introduced the idea of globe Earth. So I guess can you expand on that? And also, were the humans before that like flat earthers or what?
Well, the notions that Kepler and Copernicus used, that's what you're talking about. They're the people that have brought to fruition this notion of being on a spherical ball moving around the sun in an orbital motion, or further to that, an elliptical orbital motion, if you're talking about Kepler and the scale that we have with 93 million miles, it's huge, and there's a whole list of people that have all participated in taking what are flat Earth measurements and turning them into a paradigm we now believe, or the most of the world believe that they're part of, standing on a sphere. But you can track the origins, it's easy. Hope that answers your question. Copernicus, Kepler, Huygens. There you go. Those are the only names you need to look up if you want to know the history of this subject and where the globe came from.
So were humans flat earthers before that then?
We are now. Everybody's a flat earther. We measure Earth flat, and those people that we're talking about 500 years ago took the flat Earth measurements specifically of angles to the stars and converted them into orbital and elliptical orbital motion, so we could better predict where the stars would be. But the origins of those systems that we now think we stand on are flat Earth measurements. So were they flat earthers before? They were flat earthers then, they're flat earthers now, and they'll be flat earthers tomorrow because that's how Earth functions.
Obviously, I disagree with you. I don't really have the technical expertise to argue this in depth. But I would like to ask you if you're like a heliocentric or geocentric kind of guy. I'm just kind of wondering where your guys' orientation is with regards to that.
You started off by saying I disagree with you. You disagree with measurements.
Yes.
You disagree with the measurements of Earth.
No. I disagree fundamentally with your whole flat Earth kind of thing. That's beyond the point. The point, the question I have.
You can't just tell me. Stop him, please stop him. No, don't just tell me you don't agree. But that's not the point. I'll move on anyway. Yeah, if you disagree, you better have a damn good reason to, and explain why, and give me a justification for why you disagree. Earth is measured flat.
Here's the whole thing with that, right?
Excuse me, I haven't finished. I haven't finished.
I
haven't finished. You're not in charge. I am. Right? Shut up. You disagree.
Well, okay.
No. Yeah, you disagree with Earth measurements. Do you? Is this what you've got to disagree and then laugh at me while I'm trying to clarify that which you disagree with? It's not going to succeed, sir. If you just hand wave that which I say, Earth is measured flat.
I was being very polite.
You can shut up while I talk. You can shut up. What you think you can do is hand wave what I've said. I disagree, you say. I object to your disagreement because you haven't backed it with anything. So you won't just move on. I'll stop you and say, no, you won't get to just disagree. You have to justify why you disagree. And if you can't, and you just incessantly babble me through me pointing that out, eventually you'll be removed. So no, you don't just get to disagree and move on. Earth is measured flat. Now, if you want to show me some Earth measurements that contradict that, be my guest. If not, you won't get to just hand wave those facts.
Okay, are you done?
Do you have Earth measurements to present in contradiction? Don't ask me if I'm done after a protracted silence and then keep talking. That's a question you've asked me. Now I'm going to answer without you yammering through me. Yeah? Am I done? I was done at the point that I stopped and asked a question you were non-responsive to. Do you have Earth measurements? You're still talking. Am I done? No. It seems I've got to berate an idiot that was non-responsive and is now talking while I'm talking. I'll be done when you offer measurements of Earth that contradict that which you've disagreed with. I say it's measured flat. You say no. Okay, give me Earth measurements. Go.
I said disagree with your.
Yeah, got that stuttery. We got that stuttery. We heard you disagree. Now you're going to back it.
You can
stutter. Yeah, we can hear you stuttering, son. We hear you stuttering. Earth measurements. Go.
Ask you a question.
No, you're going to give me your Earth measurements because you disagreed. Can you shut this asshole up? Shut him up.
Can I explain myself?
Shut him up. No, you disagreed with me after I stated a fact. Earth's measured flat. I state as a fact. You just disagree and want to ask me a question after just disagreeing. I've stopped you and said, no, you don't just get to disagree with me. You're going to back your disagreement with some substantive evidence. That would be Earth measurements to back or justify your disagreement. Nobody cares about your feelings on the matter. The fact that you feel like I'm wrong and therefore feel like you've got to express that verbally isn't tolerated. No, if you disagree, you better have a damn good reason to disagree with me. That's Earth, measured flat. If you disagree, you better have some measurements to show for your disagreeing. Go.
Give me a second now, because here's the thing. I wasn't even coming in to argue specifically.
Then sit down and shut up. Then sit down and shut up, you stupid man. If you're not here to debate with me, shut up. Nobody wants to hear you and your ramblings about your stupid feelings on the matter. You thought you were going to get to ask a question? Shame you disagreed with me before you got to ask it. Because then you were pinned to the wall on what you disagreed with. Oh, you disagree? Oh, really? Well, you better justify it or you won't be asking anything.
I can write it down. I'll do this stuff. I can come back with actual information and have a more thorough debate. Okay, that's what I was going to say. I'm here to have
shut up.
Questions.
Nobody cares. Shut up.
And I can go do.
Shut up about what you could do in the future, dum-dum. You didn't do it. You failed miserably. You disagreed with me telling you how Earth's measured, and then didn't back that which you disagreed with. And then you thought that you could just move on with a question of me, did you? Oh, well, that's a shame. Next time, come with Earth measurements. I don't need to hear about what you'll do next time and how you'll debate next time. You failed miserably this time. Now bugger off. Next. Anybody else want to disagree? Earth's measured flat. That's how it functionally operates for everyone. You want to believe in a globe? Then your origin measurements of that globe are flat. Those are facts. You want to disagree? You better have something to back it with.
Okay, I guess I'll ask the next question. So there's a trip in the south. If there is proof that there's a 24-hour sun, will that change your stance?
Why would it change my stance? Do you think 24-hour sun changes the measurements of Earth, sir? Are you under the misapprehension that what the sun will do in Antarctica in any way, shape or form alters the functional measurements of Earth? Yes or no?
No, you're correct on that. It doesn't. But it still doesn't work on the Gleason's model, right?
Sorry, who was asserting that it would? Have you checked the Gleasons?
So is it safe to...
Have you checked the Gleasons?
Yeah, is it safe to say that it... Sorry, go ahead.
I was just asking, have you checked the Gleasons and how functionally accurate it is?
I mean, I've looked at it. I haven't checked it personally to go out there to do measurements.
I have. I ran an entire 2-day campaign where we verified how inaccurate the Gleasons was by looking at where the sun was in comparison to where the Gleasons, as it is, map suggests. It was one of the first things I did 10 years ago. I already know the Gleason's isn't correct. Do I need somebody to go down to Antarctica and assume they're on the bottom of a ball to then look at the sun? No, they'll be arriving in Antarctica after flying with respect to a plane, nose up with respect to horizontal. We can prove that with pitch data, showing that Earth is measured flat for all aviation. So, no, it doesn't make any difference to my worldview, to answer your question.
Okay, so do you currently believe that there's a 24-hour sun down there or no?
Don't know. I don't go to. I've never been there. I don't know. Makes no difference to how Earth is measured. Earth is measured flat regardless of what the sun does in Antarctica. Furthermore, travelling to Antarctica will prove Earth is flat by way of the measurements we can show for the journey to Antarctica. It is flat, as shown in the measurements. Pitch data show how Earth is flat. That's what the measurements show. So how could it change my worldview?
Can I point out something here?
Sure.
The flat earthers, the so-called flat earthers who are going on this expedition have had this pointed out to them in regards to the Gleason. So that's something to consider about their motivations.
Well, I don't think it's fair to group them as flat earthers because Nathan Oakley believes in flat earth, but I don't think he aligns with some of the ideologies of those guys because some of those guys believe in the Gleason family.
We don't.
Indeed.
Yeah, fine.
Even though they've had the issues pointed out to them.
There's a lot of flat earthers that exercise their beliefs. That's the problem here. Beliefs. So in the pre-show, I was talking to a guy called Issa, and he's saying, yeah, well, we're planting the seeds. And you're like, well, no. A lot of the people planting seeds, as it were, are planting beliefs. New beliefs in place of the old beliefs. Well, they're just beliefs. When we're dealing with measurements, just deal with absolutes.
Yet keep in mind, too, that none of the participants of the final experiment are flat earthers. Both Jaron and Whitsitt stopped identifying as a flat earther years ago. They call themselves true earthers. A completely different ballpark. That's not even the same league anymore. It's like we're playing baseball and they're over there playing air hockey or some shit. Oh, sorry about swearing. It slipped out. I didn't mean to.
No, I laughed because it was a good comparison. We're playing basketball. They're over there doing water polo. You know what I mean?
That's a
it's not even a comparison. If they wanted the final experiment to involve flat earthers, they should have invited flat earthers. But they didn't. On purpose, by design.
Yo, how about you get a job, man?
Say again? Say again, whoever that was?
I think he asked you why you don't get a job. Did I hear that right?
Yeah, don't be shy, Sunshine. Step up.
Yeah, that's Van. Van, come on, you can speak up. You've been around here many times.
Three,
I think it's
two,
his old.
1. He chose not to. Bad luck.
Yeah, I think his old name was called like Tech Skank or something like that. So I think he's a Nathan fan. Ballbusters fan, anyway.
I just want to do a follow-up on that. So if you're saying the Gleason's map is wrong, what map on the flat Earth model can I refer to?
What can you refer? You can do whatever you like. Refer to whatever you want.
No, like I want your opinion. Like, what map is correct in your opinion?
With regards to the subject, you appreciate that all maps are flat, right?
Sure.
Okay. I'm not a cartographer. You appreciate that, right?
Yeah.
Okay. And you appreciate that when dealing with measurements for navigation, they're all flat too, right?
Yes.
Okay. So why do we need to do anything else? What's next? I don't get it. Why?
The question was, is there any correct maps out there that I can refer to or no?
No. Surprisingly, there's an entire worldview that we're on a ball. And in order to achieve that end, they've taken the ball that they created with flat Earth angle measurements to the stars and projected that ball that's absolutely useless for navigation onto a load of flat maps, creating huge distortions. Now, I'm not responsible for those distortions when making globe projections that came from flat Earth measurements flat again when they induced distortions. That's not my fault. But there's lots of flat maps that can only function flat, and some of them come from globe projections, which causes distortions, like making circles of equal elevation in the case of the latitude grid, square in the case of the Mercator projection. Why is it called a projection? Because it's come from flat Earth angle measurements to the stars to create areas of equal elevation, to then project them onto a globe with it inside the celestial sphere on a flat plane, and then project that back onto a flat map so it's actually useful again. That buggers up the whole thing. But that's because we've got this worldview that we're on a globe when we're not, that we have that problem. Not because it's not comporting with the world being flat. That's how it functionally operates.
He also mentioned model. There really is no flat Earth model.
Okay then.
So, from what I understand, you reject the idea that all of the celestial bodies, like the stars or the sun, orbit around the North Pole in concentric circles around where the North Pole is the center of the Earth, which is the model that is proposed by Gleason. Is that true or not?
Can you back off your mic a bit, Embo? It's really distorted. Orbits, you say? Orbits is derived from the angle measurements of the stars, though. That's what Kepler uses.
Yeah, but I'm asking if you reject that Gleason's idea about what's the geometry of this orbit, that the North Pole is the center of the Earth around which these
I heard
orbits
you the first
are
time.
centered.
I heard you the first time, Embo. My response. Orbits, you say? Orbits are derived from flat Earth angle measurements, though, aren't they, Embo?
That's a non sequitur. That's not an answer.
So let me get it straight. My response, using the very specific word orbit, and how that comes to fruition with flat Earth angle measurements, is non sequitur, not relevant. No, it just proves Earth's measured flat, Embo. It makes your question about sphere Earth with things flying around it redundant, because the origin of your question has the word orbit in it, and that needs a flat Earth. So it's not relevant, surplus to the questioning process. It's absolutely relevant, because to come up with this concept of orbits, the thing you asked me about, Embo, would mean we need a flat Earth to measure to create that idea, like Kepler did. Yeah? We need a flat Earth for the angle measurements, though, Embo. So it's kind of redundant to be asking if I believe what Gleason perceived to be, what, lights in the sky moving around a sphere? Oh, definitely not. That idea came from the church, and they used flat Earth measurements to get there. Making your question completely redundant, because we need flat Earth for the orbits. Hope that's clear. You thought it was non sequitur. It isn't. It's a flat Earth proof. Of course, when a globe believer is a flat Earth proof, it's not relevant. Very relevant. It's us measuring Earth to come up with orbits.
But I've never denied the assumption of flat Earth. In my argument, I was already giving you that assumption and asking if you already have that flat Earth, do you subscribe to this particular model of orbits where the center of them is the North Pole on flat Earth? Or do you have some other view of it, or do you not have a view on it at all?
My view is Earth's flat, and you're confirming it for us. Thank you for confirming that your orbital motion to believe you're on a sphere has a flat Earth prerequisite, that measurements be made off a flat Earth for your fundamentalist religious sphere belief with orbits and stuff that you believe in. I see that being very, very relevant to other people's beliefs that they base on the flat Earth measurements that we all must use when we measure Earth flat, because that's what it is. But you want to know what I think of someone who took those flat Earth measurements and created a map with them? Oh, I don't care. I showed how wrong his map was 10 years ago. Do I care what Gleason's thought? Nah, not really. Don't care. I know he had to use flat Earth angle measurements if he's inferring orbital motion has something to do with his map. That's wrong, that I showed to be wrong. But we still need a flat Earth for that orbit that he's appealing to. Like all globe believers, they all need flat Earth measurements. They all, like you would also say, that they're not relevant when pointed out to them.
There's so many people.
So you don't support Gleason's model that all of the stars and sun and moon rotate around Polaris, which was his view?
Sorry, did you not hear me point out that we need a flat Earth for this? Did you not tell me that it wasn't important and then me reiterate how important it was? Did you feel that reiterating your question for the fourth time was in any way going to address which I put back in answer to your question when we were in a debate and discussion about the nature of Earth and how it's measured? You're asking me about the extrapolation after the flat Earth measurement and whether or not I agree with it. Yeah, I heard you the first 4 times you asked, Dembo. You told me that the answer about the flat Earth measurement that's needed to come to those conclusions you're asking about is irrelevant. But yet it's the genesis, the measurement that leads to your question. Maybe you could acknowledge that flat Earth measurement. Oh, you did. You said you don't deny it. So the only thing I take away from this is that both you and I accept Earth must be measured flat. That's the end of this discussion. I don't care beyond that. How right was Gleason's? I already know he's wrong. I answered that too, didn't I? I showed how wrong his map was 10 years ago and I tracked the sun. So that kind of undermines everything you're asking. Did you think you need to ask it a 5th time, Embo? Because I'm pretty sure I'm done with this line of questioning, as I've dealt with it on multiple times. I don't need it repeated a 5th time. Thank you. But thank you for your question. Earth's measured flat for Gleason's to utilise orbits. Thank you for bringing it up. I hope everyone else who's listening to this realises just how Earth is measured flat. Thanks.
It's actually not flat, and I can prove it right now. I'm actually in space. So I can actually come on camera and prove it right now. I'm working with Elon Musk with the Stargate.
You should get rid of this guy that's lying, please. I don't like talking to liars.
I'm not. I am literally can come on camera right now.
Can you get rid of this liar, please? Get rid of this liar, please. Thank you.
The violation.
Do you know why I know he's a liar? Go on, whoever that was from G+, sorry.
I said it's in violation of natural law. He can't be in that area.
Yeah, it's like somebody coming on mic and saying, I am actually in Narnia. Just let me have my camera on. You can see that I'm in Narnia. I'm talking to Aslan right now. Now, the sky vacuum, outer space, is fake. It violates the second law of thermodynamics. If the sky was an area of volume 10 to the minus 17 torr, then the high-pressure gas expanding in all directions would vacate the Earth and we'd all be dead. Furthermore, we would have never developed gas pressure in the first place because there'd be nothing to press on. Then they're definitely not in a sky vacuum. I already know you're a liar. Like all astronauts who claim to be in a sky vacuum. They're all liars too.
Hey, just a follow-up. So if you're saying the church introduced the idea of the globe Earth, what about all the Muslim countries? Because they don't have authority over those countries, right? So why do they believe in the globe?
Why do they? I don't know. You'd have to ask them. But their rhetoric, Muslim or any other religion for that matter, as I've found out recently, having chatted to people around the world a little bit, is irrelevant. The origins of the heliocentric paradigm, there's me talking while you're answering in the middle of my answer to you. Was mine in the middle of being talking, need for you to start talking? Try again. It still came from the church. I can show where it came from. I can name the individuals who created it. So the fact that a different religion also teaches it to their children in their schools is irrelevant. They all teach it. It came from the Roman Catholic Church. Those are just facts. It's not an if. If it's true that it came from the church, it did. Kepler. You never heard of Kepler? Copernicus. You never heard of him? What do you want me to do? Turn him into a Muslim and give him a different name? No, that's just where it came from.
No, but if you're saying it came 500 years ago, Muslims existed before 500 years ago. That's the point.
And?
So if the idea was only introduced by the church 500 years ago, how did the Muslims teach it thousand years ago?
Right, why are you asking me this? Number one, I'm not a Muslim, right? I'm a proud transgender Jew. So don't ask me about... I don't know. Ask a Muslim.
Yeah,
Can I answer him?
Teach it was a ball.
Meanwhile, the ball religion came from the Roman Catholic Church. You keep saying if it came from the Roman Catholic Church. What about Muslims? They had religion 1,000 years. So what? I don't know. I don't care either. I know where the religion of the ball came from and who created it, and nothing will change that as far as history is concerned.
Where did he get the idea that Muslims were teaching globe Earth 1,000 years ago?
I don't know.
I don't know either. They teach it now, though, in Muslim schools.
I'd say in all schools.
Yeah, in all schools. Correct.
Well,
If you're in school, you're being taught that you're on a ball.
Pretty much all the scriptures, if you read through them, they indicate a flat Earth.
Yeah, why wouldn't they comport
their
with how
holy
Earth is
books,
measured? Makes sense.
their holy book hasn't changed, right? So that's why I'm assuming if they're teaching it today, they would have taught it years ago too.
Well, no, they would. As I think it was Endless just said, they're all the Bible or the Quran. They're teaching a flat Earth. There's no heliocentric nonsense in these books. But the church or the mosque, that's different. That's a building with people in it. Right? Well, they, in the case of the Roman Catholic Church, came up with this paradigm, heliocentrism, but that doesn't mean they've got it from the books. And it doesn't mean that because somebody had any book 1,000, 5,000 years before, doesn't alter that from 500 years ago you have this notion of heliocentrism, and then now in all the schools they teach it.
Nathan, can I say something?
Yeah, go ahead.
They did not think they were on a spinning water ball. There was no need to emphasize that they lived on a flat earth. That's why you're not finding anything there. But if you read any scriptures, it's all flat.
Yeah, why wouldn't it be?
Well, the debate started when they started pushing this heliocentric paradigm.
Interesting question, though. Thanks. The guy earlier was talking
So
about...
you're.
Oh, sorry, go ahead.
Oh, sorry.
I was just filling the air. Go ahead.
Yeah. So if you don't claim any model of the stars and you support complete separation of the arguments about the sky and the ground, are you equally fine with people having different ideas about how the stars move? For example, the South Pole being the center of flat Earth, as long as they accept the Earth is flat, or do you have some specific layout of how the stars move imagined in your head?
I don't know. I just know how they've been utilised up until now to map and chart the territories. And the way that's been done to date is with flat Earth elevation angles. That's how we've created things like the celestial sphere and indeed the globe itself.
Okay, thank you.
My pleasure. $101 people watching in YouTube. Please share the show if you've not done so already. Very warm welcome if you've just joined us. As is always the case, or typically the case on a Friday, we are in the politics server, so hopefully one of my mods can drop a link to the politics Discord server. Thank you, Divergent Droid. So Divergent Droid's just dropped a link to this Discord server, which is politics. If you did want to join and express your views on the nature of Earth, then click that link today. Please don't swear if you join.
I guess let's assume that they're lying about the globe Earth, right? The way you're saying it. What's the motive? Like, why? If it's flat and they know, why are they lying about it? Well, to gain what?
Who are they? And this is an appeal to motivation fallacy.
The church and all the people that are making this lie, right?
No, we're going to need a big spade and some very strong smelling salts to find that out, I'm afraid. They didn't lie. They tried to create a novel way of predicting where the lights would be. And thinking outside of the box, they took the elevation angles measured off a flat plane and put them into heliocentric motion to better predict where the lights would be. That's the original motivation. Now, don't get me wrong, you fast forward 500 years and suddenly we've got the most of the world that we are aware of professing to be on a sphere. Well, we're not, but that doesn't mean that Copernicus is a liar. He's being charged as an astronomer to come up with a better predictive model for the lights in the sky. That's it. I don't think there's any nefarious intent. Now, move forward into the current time, and you could suggest it's the same as anything else in life. It's done for control, like everything. But who cares? If you know it's flat, and that's how it functions, number one, nothing changes. It was always flat, and it still is. Functionally, Earth is utilised flat. No ifs, buts, or maybes about it. So in that respect, nothing changes. When you're like, why do we need religions? To keep people under control. Now, you can either question and query about the methodologies of control that we have in our lives in abundance, or just know the reality of the world. In this instance, it's just how the surface is measured. It's flat. Now, you can concern yourselves with the paradigms that are foisted upon you and the lies and deceit and consume your life with it. Or you could just get on with your life, knowing that it's flat. Oh yeah, I used to be part of a religion. That's how I view it. But why did they lie? You can waste a lot of time appealing to the motivation of frauds and liars. They'll just lie to you, though, if you try and appeal to them. I don't know their motivation, I'm sorry. I know that there's control structures in our lives everywhere. I would assume this is just another one of them, if you need an answer.
No, what I was referring to now, like forget 500 years ago, why, if it's a well-known fact now that it's measured flat, why keep that ideology up, right? And also, how does it, okay, so if they come out tomorrow and say it's flat inside the globe, how does that make them control us even better? I don't get that part.
These
Who
people can't
specifically is lying? Can you tell us who is lying? Specifically, like the names.
He's shifted on
your mainstream education, your education system, right? Because your religions, they're all teaching the globe Earth, right?
That's not a lie, though.
Can you
They're not
prove
liars.
that they believe that it's flat, but they're saying it's a globe, or
Yeah,
do they
exactly.
just believe it?
A lie, they must have malice. They must have the understanding, the forethought that what they're saying is wrong. They must have the intention to deceive to be called liars. So when you say teachers, you can't label teachers who teach heliocentrism liars. That's part of a curriculum. They're not liars. There's very few people who are. Astronauts are liars. The ones that say that they're in a sky vacuum. Definitely not. Like the guy earlier who said, I'm definitely in space. No, I automatically called him out as a liar, didn't I? I didn't need to hear anything else beyond, I'm in a sky vacuum in violation of natural law. Put me on camera so he can show his green screen and be funny. They're liars. But there's very few others that you can actually ascribe as lying. They just don't know any better.
I'm going to go ahead and say that Elon Musk is a liar.
You know it's real because it looks so fake when showing you a car in an area that doesn't exist. Put the same car in Narnia. You know Narnia's real because the images of my car in Narnia look so unbelievably fake that you definitely know that there is a Narnia and we went through the wardrobe to get there. No, you don't. I don't know if he's been given that by a scriptwriter, a PR company. I don't know. So I can't, strictly speaking, say, yeah, he's definitely a liar because he said, you know it's real, talking about outer space, because it looks so fake. That might be actually takeable as read. Like, he actually believes that because his own images that he didn't film, he's not on the back of the car with a camera. So it might be the case that he actually believes what he says. I don't know. But I do know that when men say, I've been in space, no, you haven't. You're a liar. Musk, I don't know. Maybe he is, maybe he isn't. Could just be a useful idiot. You don't know.
Elon doesn't run SpaceX. He's specifically kept away from running that place. You can read interviews with various people who work there and look at how the organizational structure actually works. He's not the CEO.
Yeah, he's got better things to do, like make flamethrowers.
Yeah, Endless is right. I can get into detail on the corporate structure and why it is that way, but maybe that's too much for this discussion right now.
It's an appeal to motivation fallacy. Why would they lie? Who cares? You know what reality is if you know what Earth is functionally being used as, and that's a plane. There's no getting around it. But then when you go, well, but there's people that say otherwise. Yeah, there's always going to be liars, and there's always going to be people who buy into whatever paradigm is the status quo because it benefits them. Again, you can't ascribe the lie to them, but the fact that they reinforce a system that exercises a certain degree of control over their minions if they're in control, like in government. But again, it doesn't really make any difference to the subject that we actually discuss here. Is Earth flat or not? Yep, that's how it's measured. Move on, or concern yourself with what you'll actually get back from the opponents with, no, it isn't, it's a globe. How do you know? I just feel like I disagree with you when you tell me it's measured flat. So can I ask you a question? No. I don't care about your feelings. But why would they lie? I don't care.
Hello. Hey, Nathan.
Hello.
Question. What made you turn into a flat earther? Was it something you saw, something somebody said? Like, what was your turning point for you? Were like, okay, you know, like this is just not adding up, and like, let me just do my further research. Like, what was it for you?
In
Sorry, I don't know
realistic
if I'm-
terms, it was a recognition. In realistic terms, it's only been in the last couple of years that I could honestly call myself hand on heart a flat earther, because prior to that, I didn't know it was flat. Well, there was plenty of indications that it was flat. And I'm generalising here. This isn't even strictly true either, but there we go. For the sake of your question, in the last couple of years, it's become abundantly clear that Earth is measured flat in all instances. Therefore, there's no denying it or coming to terms with it. It's just, it is what it is.
Okay, thank you.
But before that, I had a very strong flat Earth belief for quite a number of years. I didn't know it was flat. I just believed it was flat because there was a lot of people out there that talked about it being flat and then told us how globe-shaped it wasn't and the reasons why it wasn't globe-shaped. So I believed it was flat.
So Nathan, are you a citizen of the Crown? Are you a British citizen?
Yes.
Which team do you support?
Football team. I don't.
You don't support any teams? Oh, not
No.
Manchester, not.
No, I don't. I'm not a sports fan. Sorry. My father used to support Birmingham City, and therefore I used to go to those games. And when I was at school, they used to like Aston Villa, so I'd go to those games, even though it was frowned upon, as I was apparently labelled a Blues fan, and you're only allowed one. But I had no interest in either, really. I just went, my friends went, and my dad went, but I'm not really a sports fan. No, sorry.
The last time I went to a game was 33 years ago, and I got to see a Tottenham game.
33 years ago.
Because my extended family is Tottenham supporters.
Back in the good old days.
I was about to say that would be in the 90s. That's when they were winning. That's when they were good. Yeah,
It was quite enjoyable, really.
One of my uncles used to be a steward at Tottenham during that period. So he'd be looking back at you while you were watching the game.
Well, I think the chanting and the cheering was actually more exciting than watching the men go back and forth, kicking a ball with no result.
I don't know.
Only for tell you, Tottenham didn't win for 50 years. Nothing, people.
Well, I mean, you could watch the game for half an hour and not see a single score. Where you just kicking back and forth and back and forth and back and forth and back. Well, it's like, and that's great. I mean, they're competing, and the game is meant to be difficult. It's not meant to be easy.
Yeah, I agree.
And they need a flat Earth.
I agree. It could be boring. Football could be boring.
Yeah.
Go on.
Well, I wanted to find out what the room thought of the claim that you could sail in a straight direction from the coast of India and hit Alaska.
I don't know. Could you? I don't know.
Is anyone?
Now, if you look at it on the map, it looks like a sine curve. It looks like a sine curve when you look at the map because it ends up going down and around through the southern tip of South America, and it looks like a big W basically, and then it lands out in Alaska.
Has anyone claimed to have done this?
About?
Well, I mean, it seems to be a pretty profound argument, but let me see here. Sailing.
Number one, which map?
Straight from India to
You're
Alaska.
dropping things in while you're looking. profound argument?
Hold on, I'm going to try to find. I mean, I'm looking at my desktop computer, so I have to then find the link and then bring it up on my phone and then share it. So please continue, gentlemen.
Well, I was
I'll
just
see what
clarifying
I can do.
something you said. You said it seemed like a profound argument.
Yeah, this one is from the Daily Mail.
He's not going to address that. He's not going to address his. He gave himself the trophy before the race.
It's not a trophy. I'm asking what the room thinks. I haven't sailed it.
Sounds like a profound argument, bro.
It sounds like a joke from Lord of the Rings, where like if men sail in circles, the elves, sail in straight lines.
Okay.
How profound?
Sure, but you're saying on the map, it looks wrong. Okay, we need to establish which map it is, and then we'll go from there. But furthermore, it's being presented as though there's an argument to be won or lost here, when there isn't. There's no argument about how Earth is if you're suggesting that this argument with where things would be travelled to and from on a certain map would prove it either way. Well, no. The map itself, if I can find out which map it is, will have had its origins in flat Earth measurements. So the map itself will prove either way, not the distortions and how they may look when you plot things on them.
Well, gentlemen, this is one write-up from the Daily Mail. Can't always trust the Brits, but here. There it is.
Okay.
Actually, it's not a W, it's a big U.
Has anyone
what's
done
your
this?
position on it? Where do you stand on this fact that Earth is flat?
Well, I personally, I don't ever want to get cholera, so I'm not going to India.
So where do you
said
stand?
It was profound.
Where do you stand in regards to the Earth being flat, or the utilization of those measurements to infer that we are on a ball? Did you have a position in that regard?
Well, I mean, I was just going through some comedic listings on like those short videos on Facebook, and this came up as one of them. This spherical representation of someone sailing directly from India to Alaska.
Okay.
And so, I was like, I'm going to have to ask the guys on the channel here.
But what's your position on it in regards to Earth and its nature with respect to its measurements? Do you have a position on it?
Well, I'm too busy grinding spreadsheets personally.
Okay, but you said this. Just I'm nearly done with this guy. Sorry.
I get paid to hump finance data.
Cool.
That's what I do. I hump finance data all day.
Excellent. But you said it was.
I do the Watusi.
Conclusive in regards
I do the
to
Watusi on spreadsheets.
Thanks. So you said it was seemingly conclusive in regards to the argument. Hey.
No, it just seemed to be profound. I didn't, the visual representation that they posted on the Facebook link, which I don't know that I can reproduce.
I've asked you 3 times and now you're just stuttering.
It shows us.
You're just stuttering through the top of me before I finish my statement. Nobody wants to know about your spreadsheets. Where do you stand with regards to Earth being flat? 4th time I've asked you.
Well, I live in the middle of a very flat state of Texas, and I really just don't bother with it.
But you suggested that there was an argument.
I've never tried to do measurements.
Okay,
I've never tried to...
you paused, so I started responding to what you said. Thank you. Yeah, you suggested that there was an argument, though. So, given that you made that suggestion, presumably you understand what that argument you were putting forward from the Daily Mail was and which sides there were with that argument. So, given that it's presumably a flat Earth argument that the Daily Mail are putting forth, and they're suggesting sphericity in the argument, which side of that argument that you put forth do you sit on? 5th time I've asked you.
Honestly, I'm undecided, and that's why I'm bringing it here.
So, did you feel that the Daily Mail had come to a conclusion you could draw? You said you thought it seemed.
No, I just found this article as a representation of what I saw on Facebook, because these Facebook shorts, you can never hunt them down. There's like a rotating melange of them. There's got to be a million of them, and unless you completely copy it or grab the link immediately, it's gone. You literally, if you shut your phone off and you turn your phone back on, it gives you something else. It doesn't bring you back.
Truly fascinating. So with regards to the argument, you're neutral, but when you suggested that it had a conclusive outcome, to the debate?
No, I'm undecided.
But you
I'm undecided.
Okay, but you said formally you've changed your position then, because previously it was quite conclusive, this Daily Mail debate piece.
Well, I thought it was profound, but I didn't view it as
You used the word, quote, conclusive, end quote, you.
I didn't say conclusive. No, sir, I did not.
You said it
How
seems
did
pretty.
you evaluate
You
it to
said
be
I don't need help.
profound if you
Don't need
don't-
help. You said, quote, it seems pretty conclusive.
Well,
end
what
quote.
do you think of it? See, you can look at the link.
Did you
Tell
hear
me
what I just
you
said?
guys-
Is it just me, or is he raising his voice? I'll try that again.
I'm asking what
Do I need to get this guy shut up because it seems that he's being called out on his lie? He's denied what he said. I wrote it down.
I said it was profound. I didn't say it was conclusive.
Okay. So you're neutral.
So none of you have an opinion on this?
I know how Earth's measured. It won't offer any elucidation to the debate in regards to this subject because there is no debate. Earth is measured flat. There is no debate to be had. That's
Fine.
why I'm trying to peg you on it.
Fine.
You were suggesting that it was somehow in assistance
Well, I don't
to the debate.
indulge in a
You're
lot of
talking
pegging. I have to
straight
apologize.
through the middle of me, sir. You're talking
I'm
straight
more
through
of a
the middle of me
missionary guy. I'm
still.
not much
You're
of a
still
pegger myself.
talking through the middle of me. You offered it like it needed assessment because it would help elucidate an outcome in the debate.
Are you getting defensive?
You offered it because you suggested it would offer some elucidation in the debate. Therefore, you are under the misapprehension there's a debate to be had.
Okay, so if there's no debate and there's no interest in reviewing it, then basically I've wasted my time and you're not interested, and that's fine.
Whether or not you
If
have
you don't,
wasted...
if you don't want to comment, you can pass. You can
I am
say
commenting.
Not interested.
I am
You can
commenting.
say
I'm
not
interested.
up for
Very,
discussion.
very interested.
Not up for debate.
I am
I think
interested.
you're completely
I'm interested.
misunderstanding.
I don't need help. I am interested. I'm interested in why you would think there's a debate based on the article when it's a fact that you were obviously unaware of. Obviously, sir. Given that you suggested that this article would help elucidate the debate, I can only draw the conclusion that you are ignorant of how Earth is measured. So I'm very interested. This is my response. Okay?
Excellent.
So you were unaware Earth is measured flat then, sir? You thought there was a debate here? All right, let me enlighten you. The article won't do that. I will, when I tell you Earth is measured flat for everyone. Everything that's mapped, charted, flown upon, sailed upon, built upon, it's all measured flat. That would be Earth and its flatness and how it's measured and how it functionally operates. Ergo, I have no need to look at some article that some people might ignorantly believe will elucidate something about a debate that doesn't exist. When we've got measurements, the debate is over. The non-debate that the article won't be helping with. Hence my interest and my response about your ignorance of how Earth's measured, sir.
Well, I apologize. I guess I didn't realize I was the subject of the discussion.
What, when you piped up about an article? Well, you were under the misapprehension that there was a debate being had when, in fact, Earth's just measured flat.
Fine.
So did you know that? That Earth is measured flat?
I am not a cartographer, sir.
I see. Me neither.
As an example, mate, if it mentioned miles or kilometers in the article, they're linear distance measurements. So you need a flat Earth for the distances in that article.
It also mentioned a straight line, so that won't be on the surface of a sphere.
It's got some problems, that article. Maybe it was written by an idiot. Did you have trouble identifying idiot article writers, sir?
Well, I don't know. I don't know the reputation of the Daily Mail. You can probably comment on that better than me.
Talking about distances that have a flat Earth as a prerequisite, they're linear distances. Yeah?
Does it have longitude and latitude?
It mentions latitude and longitude, does it?
Well, we'll have to see. Would you like me to read it to the room?
Not really. Do you know it if it mentions latitude or longitude at all?
Honestly, sir, I did a search to find if someone had a reference to what I had seen, because I thought it would be of interest to the room.
That's non-responsive. I'll try again. Second time. Let's start counting them off. Does it mention latitude and longitude? Second time.
I haven't read it yet.
So let me get it straight. You would like to read an article that you haven't read, that you thought prior to reading it would somehow elucidate a debate that doesn't exist. Do you know where you are? Do you not think it would be prudent to read?
Do you not think it would be
pertinent or prudent to read?
From India to Alaska?
Do you not think it would be pertinent or prudent to read an article you suggest might elucidate something before offering it in light of some elucidation of a debate that doesn't exist? Do you not think it would have been wise to have read it first? Because you haven't read it, right? Why are you talking to us, sir?
Well, it claims 8,000 miles.
Sorry, I thought you hadn't read it.
I had read it, but I'm reading it now. I've got it in front of me.
But does it mention latitude? Third time. Does it mention latitude and longitude? Third time.
Does it mention? No, it does not.
All right. You could have answered that the first time I asked if you'd have read it.
Well, I hadn't read it yet.
So why did you offer it to us? Do you need help with reading? Do you need us to help you read it, sir? I'm talking, not you. I'm talking. I'm making you look stupid because you've offered up for assessment an article that you haven't read. That makes you seem incredibly stupid. Just so you know.
Well, fine. I guess I'm incredibly stupid.
Yeah.
I mean, can we have a vote? How many people think I'm incredibly stupid? Can we have it at the
Simmer down, sir. No, you're not in charge of this show.
Please,
stop. Shut him up.
I would like everyone.
Shut him up. He's decided to take charge by rambling incessantly in defeat. Shut this idiot up. No, we won't take a vote, sir. I'm running a live show with 106 people watching. You deciding that we'll take a vote on your idiocy. I've demonstrated how stupid you are. We don't need a vote. Fact. You offered up for assessment an article you hadn't read. That makes you moronic. Don't need a vote. Certainly don't need you yammering incessantly while I've got a live audience. Sit down, realise how stupid you are, and shut up. Ask if we're going to take votes on it. Silly little man. Go and read your article before you offer it to us next time, okay? Idiot. How stupid are these people? Can you have assessment of this article I haven't read yet? No, maybe you should read it first, dum-dum. How thick are you?
No, he found it profound first, but then he didn't read it.
I found this article I haven't read profound. Can you explain how conclusive it is? Because it seems pretty conclusive. Not that I said conclusive. Idiots. Well, now he knows. Earth is measured flat. A lot of the article he didn't read had things that need a flat Earth, like miles, linear distance on a plane, so you're going to need a flat Earth for it. What a shocker. People claiming Earth's a sphere are too stupid to realise their own proofsies include flat Earth prerequisites. Shocking. There's a lot of stupid people out there, including people who read, or don't read, articles that other idiots write. Well, this has been fun. It's been an hour that's flown by as always. About 5 more minutes left with the politics Discord server, so if there was any pertinent questions that needed to be asked, feel free. Been a pleasure as always. I love being in politics. You make me feel so welcome. The moderating team, that is, who very, very rarely actually pipe up because they are the unspoken heroes of this server and its wonderful, wonderful community.
Yeah, thank you. It's nice to have you come by too. It helps break up the week, by having separate things each day.
Can I ask the last question?
Feel free.
So during what's called the final experiment, one of the participants, critical thing, flew from Australia to South America, to Chile, using the flight Sydney to Santiago. So you would like to repeat that the Earth is practically used as flat. In that case, I would like to ask what shape of the surface is used in order to figure out in what heading and what time of flight will an airplane take in order to fly from one point to another. Thank you.
Oh, cool. Yeah, we've got something called pitch data that shows how flights are nose up with respect to a horizontal plane of reference. The measurements of flight data, specifically pitch data, show Earth is measured flat. So regardless where he's travelling from and to, in order to maintain, quote, level flight, you'll need a flat Earth, as is shown in NTSB pitch data. So we already know that all flights are with respect to a flat plane. Hope that helps. As for the distorted maps, I don't know, I'm not a cartographer like I explained to the last guy.
It's like you're allergic to answering questions directly.
I did answer your question. I said the flight has measured data we can assess from the NTSB. It proves Earth is measured flat. That's what I can take in terms of the measurements with these flights that you referred to. Now, you referred to a particular location and another particular location on presumably a particular map which you didn't name or detail. Well, all maps that we typically use have distortions on them. Now, I'm not responsible for those distortions. I can detail why they're distorted. They're globe projections. The globe being a reified paradigm that came from flat Earth measurements in the first instance, like the ones you conceded to earlier, like to create orbits. Yeah, you conceded those flat Earth measurements that we need for the maps that then get projected onto a globe and then get projected back out flat so they're useful again. So if you're saying that there's some problem with those maps, then speak to the cartographers, not me. I didn't make them. It seems perfectly unreasonable for me to be answering why distorted globe projections that claim from flat Earth origins are wrong. Speak to the cartographers. But we do know that they're functionally used with respect to planes of reference, and that's how they're created in the first instance. So that proves that we need a flat Earth for them. If you have a problem with the maps, go and ask the map maker.
Well, when it comes to practical application, like the one where you fly an airplane, you don't want to use projected projections. You want to use the actual shape of the ground in order to figure out in reality what is the shortest distance between these 2 points. And my problem isn't with maps, because they are indeed distorted, because they are projections of the globe, and you cannot project the spherical surface without distortions in the plane. My problem is that we have an actually working map. That map is just the actual globe in 3D, not projected, and it perfectly works for all of the travel.
And how was that globe created? For example, on the globe that you say works for travel, where did the latitudes come from?
The latitudes?
Yeah, on the globe that you say we need, and it must be functional with.
They come from measurements to stars. If you know a star, the declination of a star, you can measure an angle. Subtract it from 90, you will get your latitude.
So these latitude measurements require Earth to be flat then? They're angle measurements with respect to a plane of reference. That's the surface for the angle. So the globe that you say is somehow indicative of the surface of the ground, no, it definitely isn't. It's just how they have it modelled. Furthermore, we're not using models of spheres when taking journeys on planes. They use waypoints that are set in stone, like almost like highways in the sky. So no, definitely not. There's nobody digging out a globe projection on a laptop and then deciding which way they're going to go with the plane. Definitely not. But what we do know is that the globe that's in their cockpit that you're inferring has some semblance of relevance to the ground that's being traversed. I know the NTSB data shows that the ground that they're actually traversing when you measure it with the instrumentation on the plane is flat. That goes without saying. So if you're going to suggest that the maps that were also created using flat Earth angle measurements for latitude, for example, mean that the surface is spherical because the map projection's spherical, no, definitely not. You're misunderstanding how these map projections work if that's what you think. It doesn't make the surface curved. It's just a projected model within a 2D screen on a cockpit deck. I mean, that's not how the world is, though. Did you not know how those maps and models were created? Like with angles off a flat plane?
So what is used is called the Harrow-Sine formula, which is a formula for the shortest distance between 2 points on a sphere. So that's already a practical use of the Earth as a sphere in reality. And It cannot be.
Well, let's
the
just
globe
address
cannot be a
that. Stop.
projection.
Stop. Don't scattergun me with claims. So Haversine conversion converts from a flat plane to a sphere.
No, it doesn't. It's derived from a spherical geometry from the beginning to the end.
It converts from flat to sphere.
No, it doesn't. You made that up. Prove that.
Your claim. You show me how we start with Haversine. What's the conversion doing then? What's Haversine converting?
Haversine is converting the. You have two coordinates, latitude and longitude of 2 points.
Oh, well, we just figured out, didn't we, that latitude and longitude are measured on a flat plane, didn't we? So it's converting from flat plane latitude and longitude measurements with respect to the angles of a flat plane to a sphere. Or to put it more succinctly, from flat to sphere then.
Latitude, longitude is
are flat. Those are flat Earth angle measurements. That's what latitude and longitude are. If that's your starting point to convert from, then you're converting from flat.
Do the lines of longitude...
Why are you asking me something? Yeah, Haversine converts from flat to sphere. That's correct. You just misappropriated this term like somehow there's spherical measurements being made to convert from. No, you were wrong.
You claimed the latitude-longitude coordinate system is a planar system, so I'm asking you, do the lines of longitude converge as you go south?
Yeah, that's right. We convert from flat to sphere. That's right. You denied it and laughed and asked me to start justifying this conversion. I asked you what the conversion was. You started with latitude and longitude. Fortunately, I'd already established that that's flat. It's just me, or is he talking while I'm talking? Is it just me, or is he talking while I'm talking? It's definitely this triggered Zealot talking while I'm talking. Definitely. Maybe if you talk while I'm talking, you'll win. Maybe you'll win. Maybe Haversine won't be converting from flat to globe if you keep talking while I'm talking. No, definitely. Latitude and longitude. Oh, yeah, they require a flat Earth, don't they?
Again, latitude longitude is a spherical coordinate system. It has nothing to do with it.
You didn't answer me, ladies and gentlemen. Non-responsive. So latitude and longitude, that's measured on a flat Earth, isn't it? Second time.
It isn't. It's a spherical coordinate system.
No, it isn't. It's an elevation angle to Polaris. He's a liar. Latitude and longitude, they're not spherical coordinate systems. They're measurements of angles to Polaris with respect to a plane. Are you going to lie again? Maybe if you start chanting through me before I finished, maybe that'll help you win when you lie. Don't lie. Haversine converts from flat to globe. When I ask you what it's converting, you start by explaining latitude, and I've already tied down that that is a flat Earth prerequisite. Is it just me, or has Ember got his mic wide open while I point out that there's flat Earth prerequisites involved? Maybe if his little noises that he's making with... Maybe if he starts talking while I point it out, maybe he'll win. Yeah, you're converting from flat to globe. Earth is measured flat, and you need a conversion process to create a system that can have the coordinates applied to it, not from it. The measurements that we take are from a flat plane.
Which isn't the Earth.
Oh, I see. So when we measure latitude and longitude with respect to a plane, that's not the Earth. So why would we pay any credence to the conversion of something that's measured not from the Earth? So Haversine's just converting from something that's not the Earth then. So it's not useful or relevant to this subject then. No. What he's actually doing is denying the measurements Haversine is based on as not being Earth-based because they're a flat Earth measurement and a flat Earth prerequisite. So the moment that's pointed out, given that he lied when I said it's converting from flat to globe, he said it wasn't. He lied. Now that it's tied down as, yeah, latitude and longitude, yeah, that's flat Earth. Now it's not Earth. Scum. This is what globe believers do when they lie. They're scum. So you need flat Earth measurements, and the moment that's pointed out, you deny that they're measurements of Earth now? Scum. That's what you got to do. You got to lie to Glurf, Embo. Yeah, you know damn well that they are measurements. It is just you chanting through me as you get destroyed for your lies and your Glurf zealotry. Because you're lying, Embo, to my audience. There's 120 people listening to you lie when I point out how flat Earth will be measured for your Haversine conversion from flat to globe that you denied because you're a liar. Meanwhile, when I ask you what it's converting from, your starting premise is a flat Earth measurement of latitude. Yeah. So you're a liar, and you've got to lie to be a globe believer. That's the facts in these matter. And no amount of chanting through the top of me defeating your lies and zealotry will make you a winner here, Embo. You're just a scumbag. Because you'll deny the very basis of your have-a-sign conversion. That's the measurements that we take to make the conversion to globe. You just denied them as not being Earth measurements. They are flat Earth measurements. The ones he'll deny when he's got nowhere to go. Oh, well, that's not Earth that's being measured. What, for your have-a-sign conversion? Therefore, his argument for conversion to globe is relevant to Earth. Apparently, the measurements aren't Earth now. They are. They're just flat Earth, the ones that will be converted to globe. And he doesn't like that, so he'll lie about them being measurements of Earth, won't he? Scum. Got to lie to glurf.
So, do you have any proof that the plane of the astronomical horizon, which is what is used as the baseline...
Why is he asking me something? He's just been called out for being a liar, and he thinks the way around that is to ignore it's even happened and start asking me questions. Latitude and longitude is part of the conversion process in Haversine. You're a lying scumbag. I point that out extensively, and no response. You're a liar. Can you remove this person from our company, please? I don't want to talk to him anymore. He had an opportunity to acknowledge his glurf scumbaggery and his lie. I pointed it out to him, he ignored it and asked me a question. Don't want to talk to him anymore. I don't want to engage with liars. Scumbags. Ones that would deny Earth measurements, the ones that they're relying on to be converted in Haversine. The moment they're pointed out to be flat, he'll deny their Earth measurements. That makes him scum. Think I'm going to answer any more of his questions? No, get out of my life, scumbag liar. Meanwhile, yeah, your Haversine conversion starts with flat Earth measurements, though, doesn't it? Yeah, it does. Because you'll be converting from the measurements of Earth, the ones that he just denied, to a globe. You'll need a flat Earth, though, to do that. The starting point is the measurements. They're of Earth. They're flat. They won't be denied, because then it makes his Haversine conversion to globe useless. But he's more than happy to completely, suicide bomb the whole claim. Oh, well, they're not a measurement of Earth. Well, then why would you be converting them and telling me that that's the principle for your argument in Haversine conversion to globe with these measurements that apparently aren't Earth anymore? Scum.
Anyways, every vertical situation display in aircrafts 100% show what Nathan is talking about, the planes flying over a plane. The plane's instruments themselves give testimony thereof. So
Precisely.
whatever you guys want to believe in your imaginary world, there is no sphere that the plane is flying over. The plane's instruments testify 100% that it's flying over a plane.
That's why it's called a plane.
Hard. Yeah, I know it's hard to digest. I know it feels bad to know that it's not a ball and you have been lied to, but there's nothing you can do about it.
Indeed. And with that, I'll say, if you are watching this on either Nathan Oakley 1980 or Nathan Oakley Premiering streams, then stay tuned, as there will be an after show to follow.
Called vertical situation display, right? Because the planar surface is a vertical.
No, the planar surface...
No hocus pocus.
Kind of planar surface being vertical. What are you talking about? Perpendicular to the surface.
Yeah, I mean, in perspective from you being in an airplane, you're flying a vertical over the vertical surface. That's why it's called a vertical situation display.
Oh, as in maintaining
curved
altitude,
situation display.
like maintaining altitude.
Yes.
Gotcha.
Yes.
Yeah, thank you for having us.
It's not a spinning ball.
Thank you very much for having us.
I actually posted a video that really shows that display. It's mostly used in modern aircrafts. And as far as I know, in Boeing, you can go out of a range up to 260 nautical miles and it's still flat.
Oh, we just got pitch data. So we found it via the NTSB publish this stuff to the public when they do air crash investigations. So we've used one that doesn't have any loss of life. Yeah, shows it's flat. Like you say, the instruments attest to it. Yeah, well, the data readouts for those instruments show it in no uncertain terms. So yeah, pitch data, very useful.
Indeed. But you're still gonna have Globers denying that, right? They're still gonna somehow cope in their mind for reality.
How are you going to talk about cope when you can't explain a 24-hour sun in Antarctica we're about to see?
Dude, your religion is derived from the sky, and you want to tell me that I'm gonna buy into reification fallacy? How dumb do you think I am, really?
That gives me hold on real quick, if I may. Like Nathan, Rob has a statement he'd like to read to you, like to see if it helps smooth over the past. If you're open to it or not, it'd be at least give him a shot. See if you find it genuine.
Why?
Why?
No.
Leopards don't change their spots.
Real quick, Nathan Oakley. Hey, I'm a loud guy, dude. I know I get fucking anxious. I know I get fucking crazy. Anything I have said to you in the past that may have insulted you,
He's been on 10 seconds and he hasn't respected my request to not swear. So he's immediately swearing at me, isn't he? Immediately. Swearing at me. Immediately. Can you just please mute this guy? I mean, I don't have to just bugger off because Rob Noxious is swearing at me, but I'm recording this. This is my livelihood.
Oh, sorry, I didn't know we were on air still.
I don't want to talk to this man. I don't want to talk to him.
I won't swear.
Right? I've explained to you that he's a stalker, he's abusive, and now he will not shut up. So what, you want me to give this guy a second chance? He hasn't stopped talking from the moment he opened his mic and started swearing at me. I've already judged his character, and when I say no, I object, what does he do? I'm going to continue talking straight through the middle of your objection. Yeah, that's why. No, I don't want to talk to him. No, I don't want to get messages from him on Facebook and whatever with him swearing at me and calling me. No, thank you. No, I don't. That's not my life. I don't deal with people like that. No, thanks.
Okay, I really thought I was working with him to prepare a message and went back and forth and gave him some feedback, and it appeared to me that he was ready to read this message, and instead he did a profane rant, which was not
immediately
what he said he was going to do.
Yeah, immediately.
Exact
wouldn't
opposite.
shut up.
Like he kind of tricked me. Okay, I took him I said, hey, he seems honest. He seems sincere. He's going to read off the prepared message, and he just didn't.
Yeah, and unfortunately for you, that's what he gets off on. He's now, because he's listening, getting off on the fact that he screwed you. Yeah, duped you, lied to you, got away with it. And he's delighted with that. He's really pleased that he screwed you, Crit. No, I don't allow
pervert.
it. Sorry, go ahead.
Like a pervert.
Whatever.
It's like that old saying, you think you know someone, and then they prove you're right.
Yeah, exactly. I just don't... People who've got pain or are just sadistic in terms of taking pleasure from screwing other people. Nah, I don't want to involve those people in my life. I've removed them as soon as they identify themselves. And shockingly, they want to nag to get back into your life. Now, what do they do when that fails? Oh, well, they can triangulate with others. That'd be you, Crit. Then they can find an angle into that person. No, piss off.
Hello?
Hello?
I was wondering why it was so quiet in here.
Just finished a live show, that's why.
Oh, okay.
It's called civil.
It ain't civil, it's just quiet.
Yeah, because this is not the usual Discord channel. where you have, you know, a lot of smart
Okay.
civil people screaming over each other.
Well, and you're Clay Under
But
Seal.
as far as I know, that's my username. Yes.
Oh, okay. Do you believe the Earth is circular or flat?
I don't believe the Earth to be anything. Reality doesn't need me to present itself. It is what it is. Either you accept it or you don't. If you want to invoke that what I experience in reality is the complete opposite, which means
speech I ever heard in my life, you fucking faggot.
No
Fuck off.
swearing. Please don't swear.
yeah,
Sir,
much
Shah
blessings
guy.
to you, sir. Much
Just 1
love.
second. Just 1 second, Clay.
May the Lord bless your heart.
Can I ask that Shah guy a question? You realise that flat and round aren't mutually exclusive, right?
Please explain.
Do you know what a penny is?
Yes, I do.
Is it flat?
Okay, now I'm starting to get your point, but yeah, I guess. Yeah, it's flat and round.
They're not mutually exclusive.
Yes, sir.
I'm about to say spherical.
Spherical, sorry. Wrong use of words, so yeah.
Do we believe Earth is flat or spherical? Neither.
Yeah, neither. Okay.
Yeah.
So is it misleading to call it 24/7 flat Earth if you don't believe it's flat?
It's not a belief. That's how it's measured. Neither, because neither would be based in belief. Well, one's based in belief. I just don't hold it. I'm still talking, Shah. One is based in belief.
Okay.
That's me still talking, Shah. One is based in belief. That's still me. Third time, you just need to shut up when I talk, rather than talking while I talk in answering your question. Yeah, notice, Shah, you've now had the server moderator shut you up. Just take him off mute. Let's see if he can be tolerable when people respond to him. Shah, I'm answering you. While I answer, it'd just be nice if I could get to the end of my statement before you start talking. Thanks.
My apologies, sir.
No worries. One of them is based in belief. That's the globe. The other is based on measurements. So Earth being flat, that statement that I just made, Earth is flat because it is measured that way. That's not belief, though. That's why I said neither.
Okay. So you're saying to me that one is an empirical fact and the one other is like a belief?
Yeah, one's measured that way. The other is based on the measurements of Earth being flat. So your globe belief, if you hold it, is based on the measurements of Earth, and that's flat.
Okay. And you say it was measured flat. Well, okay, I'm just like clarifying. But do you have a source for that? I'm not saying that in a malicious way. Because I've always assumed it was a globe. So I'm just wondering, yeah, where do you get that information from?
Or how many different measurements too?
Or latitude.
Latitude.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
You know what latitude is?
Is that latitude? Yeah, that's the one that goes horizontal around the map.
You know how it's measured?
No. Well, I would assume kilometers and miles, but I assume that's the wrong answer.
Well, they're flat too. They're linear distances, so you'd need a flat Earth for that also.
Don't assume you're wrong, bro.
Yeah.
So do you know what latitude
I
is?
guess.
We're just still in the middle of this. Latitude. That's how it's measured flat. That's how it's measured flat.
I know what longitude. Yeah, I know what longitude and latitude is. I get confused between the two.
Excellent. Do you know how it's measured?
No, please tell me.
Flat.
Flat.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yeah, it's a
what
flat
instruments
Earth.
are used?
Who is this third guy talking?
How do you measure it flat? That's my
Who's
question.
the third guy talking?
Joe Dubs. How is it measured flat?
Screening for the other guy.
So Shah. So latitude is. Just talking to this one dude called Shah. Thanks. Latitude is an elevation angle measurement to Polaris.
Okay.
Do you know what an elevation angle measurement is?
Do I know what an elevation measurement is? Is that what you asked me? So I didn't hear it correctly.
Not exactly, but well, you could do that also. Elevation also needs a flat Earth to describe how high you are off sea level, but that's not what I said. I said elevation angle, because...
Oh, no. No, I don't know what that is.
Okay. Well, it's an angle, one line being the base between you and the point below a star, in this instance, Polaris, and another line up to Polaris. One line along the ground, one line up to Polaris. That's the angle, the elevation angle of Polaris to form the latitude system. Flat Earth measurement. It'd be nice if you didn't through the top of me. Thanks. Just try that without you. You have to apologise. I'm still talking.
You are such a...
Thanks. Yeah, just needs to
You're
put
a
himself on
faggot.
local
You're a
mute, and
fucking
then everyone
faggot.
else needs to shut up. Everybody else who's not Shah, thanks. So we're taking a line along the ground and a line up to Polaris to form an angle called an elevation angle. That angle forms the latitude system. That's how it is measured with respect to a plane. Old Ross Byrne or whatever, can you put yourself on mute, please? Thanks. Shah. So now you know. Earth's measured flat.
I do. Oh, okay. So yeah. So now I get your logic. Okay.
It's not logic. It's a measurement. This isn't the basis of an argument in logic. It's the measurement of Earth in this respect for latitude. That measurement requires Earth be flat. So there's no logic to see. That's how Earth is measured. Just to be clear.
Yes. Yes, sir.
Okay, so you came to the server to see the way, presumably. Now you know Earth is flat. That's how it's measured.
Yeah, no, I'm a very open-minded, like to ask questions, and that's me. Yeah.
Well, there is no question anymore. That's what I'm trying to tell you. Being open-minded isn't needed. Just knowing how it is measured, Earth, that is, flat, that is. That's all you need. Once you know it's measured flat, there's no question or open-mindedness needed. You know what your bonus prize is? Huh?
What?
There's a bonus prize. Your bonus prize, now that you know how Earth is measured, how it is functionally utilised, is to be considered the most stupid person on the surface of Earth. Worthy of ridicule for anything you say if you ever acknowledged that fact about how Earth is measured. Isn't that wonderful?
Yes, very wonderful.
So it might be an idea to keep it to yourself. It's up to you. But were you to mention this fact of reality, you'd be considered the most stupid person on the surface of Earth.
Oh, okay. So do you not like the ridicule that people give you for saying that you're wrong?
When you are right about something, sir, do you appreciate people telling you you're wrong when you are correct about something?
Me personally, no. No, I don't.
So how do you think I feel when I point out how Earth is functionally measured and useful in terms of its practical application and it being flat, and I'm told you're a stupid conspiracy theorist and I can mock you and ridicule you just for you acknowledging how Earth is measured flat? You think that's reasonable?
Yeah, no, it would be quite insulting.
I agree. There we go. Now you're in the same boat with us, aren't you? You can just know it quietly when people tell you about their religious belief.
Are you Christian?
Again?
Are you Christian?
Why?
No, I just not really. I think you brought up religion, so it's the first thing that came up to my head.
Yeah, the heliocentric religion came from the Roman Catholic Church. They took the flat Earth measurements of angles to the stars and turned them into heliocentric motion and a ball Earth, mathematically. Obviously, the surface of Earth's flat, and that's how they created that paradigm. But that came from the church. That's nothing to do with me. That's the Roman Catholic Church inventing a ball for you until about 5 minutes ago to believe you were standing on.
Wait, what do you think about the AU? Wait, what do you think about the AU projection?
What about it?
Do you think it to be a accurate model of the flat Earth, or do you think it's inaccurate?
You just answered your own question. You just called it a projection, didn't you?
Oh. Okay, yeah.
Number one, maps are not the territory. That's a reification fallacy. Number two, it's a globe projection. And the globe that it's projecting is created with things like the latitude system that's measured off a flat Earth. So you create the globe with flat Earth measurements and then project that useless surplus to requirement, incapable of giving you angle globe back onto a flat map to make it useful again. In that process, there's quite a few distortions. And they're not my responsibility. Yeah. I've debunked in terms of its actual direct translation to the surface below ground positions, in this case the sun. The Gleason's map, I debunked it 10 years ago by looking at what the sun physically did while it was above certain territory according to the times on that map. So having looked at what the sun actually does, I'm still talking, explaining what I did.
Sorry.
You asked me about the Gleason's map. Yes, I've spent a considerable amount of time studying it and then verifying what the sun does with respect to that map. So I went to considerable effort to track the sun over 2 days, 24 hours periods. That's to say that people around the surface of the plane that we are on looked at where the sun was coming up at sunrise, going down at sunset, and where it was at what time at solar noon, so we could get a good idea, no way you could call it like groundbreaking or overarching or all-encompassing. It was just a good idea of whether or not the Gleason's was or was not accurate. And very quickly I found out it is not. There you go. Most people who will give you an opinion on that won't have done a damn thing to check how good it actually is. I have extensively, comparatively to anybody else in this regard, looked at whether or not it does or does not function. It doesn't. It's wrong in more ways than one. Okay, I hope that answers your question.
Okay. So you said you've debunked in the past. Do you have a video? Because I see you're verified. So do you have a YouTube video where you explain it? I just say because be a lot easier for me to just go look at you explain it rather than, on Discord.
I can explain it in a couple of sentences. But if you want to trawl through literally 48 hours of non-stop live footage with people showing you where the sun is and isn't and us checking where it is versus that map, you feel free. It's in a playlist called Tracking the Sun on a Flat Earth Live, and there's 2 sessions. One at hold on, my daughter's just come in. Oh, there you go, Clover.
Okay.
Sorry, just one sec. Can you shut the door, please? Yeah, you can trawl through it, but all we're checking is, does it match where the sun says it's supposed to be according to that map? And it does not.
Mm-hmm.
On 2 separate occasions, we've shown that it was miles out in terms of where they say the sun should be at a given time on that map, and it isn't. That's it. That's all I need.
Yeah.
But yeah, there was literally hundreds of people who participated in that event that were tuning in from all over the place, showing where their sun came up, where it went down, tuning in obviously later, not can't show at the same time, and where their solar noon was on the second event. So we refined it a little bit for the second time we did it, but we just showed where the sun goes for 24 hours, with everybody showing where they had it at what time, and we just verified where they were in the world versus that map. Very boring and tiring, because I had to run it for 24 hours, which meant staying up for 24 hours straight non-stop twice to actually do it.
Do you drink a lot of coffee?
Yeah, I had other channel moderators in the thought that I would not be able to run it, so I entrusted several other people to actually run my channel. I had to give them permissions to take over the channel temporarily, but I didn't in the end actually need those people to run the channel, but they could.
Excuse me, sir. I have a question.
Yes.
How would seasons work on a flat Earth model?
Oh my god.
Well, this is flat Earth, and this is a flat Earth question, so.
Exactly the same way they work now. What's the problem?
So you would have to be a plane of existence that's flat, rotating around the sun, correct?
No.
No, there's no proof of rotation.
Hold on. Because seasons occur because a set fixed point in space and time is reached. The winter equinox, the June solstice, the fall solstice. I don't know the actual name of the solstice, but they're actual set points in Earth's rotation around the sun. So if you're have seasons in the flat Earth model,
you said space and time causes seasons. No, hold on.
Flat
You said
Earth.
space and time causes seasons. How are you
Yes.
varying and manipulating space and time to prove it causes seasons?
No, the winter solstice happens every time the planet meets a certain distance from the sun on that certain rotation around the Earth. That's why it's called the
How are
winter
you
solstice,
proving the
the
distance?
June solstice, the something equinox, and the other equinox. June and
How are
or
you
something June and fall equinox. That's the actual
How are you
name of the
proving
set points in
distance
time.
to the
I'm not talking
sun?
about these. Excuse me?
How are you proving distance to the sun?
That's what I'm saying. Your flat Earth model would have to follow the same rotation of the current global model to have the seasons that we occur on Earth.
Why?
So I'm just fixing your model for you. I'm not trying to fucking destroy it. I'm
Nice
actually
road, please.
implicit you guys and fixing the flat Earth. If it's a flat plane of existence, it cannot be still. It cannot be standing still. It has to be rotating around the sun as well to
Prove
get those
rotation.
set points in the rotation of the Earth that causes seasons. Other we wouldn't be in the winter equinox or winter solstice.
You asking him a question, or you trying to just?
I asked a question, but that's what I'm saying. Like I wanted to see like, the seasons.
Okay, well,
Seasons work in a flat Earth model.
Yeah, we
I
heard
would
you.
like give you a little bit of credibility.
you making
But I'm
a
doing
claim, or you making a claim, or asking a question?
more about claim. I'm more educating you on what you should be saying. That it would be more proper instead of just making things up.
Yeah.
So me trying to educate you that seasons occur by a set point in time, or the Earth's rotation
Guy,
around
we
the
got
sun,
you. We
means
got
that
you. We heard it. We've heard it 5 times.
also have
Guy, can you
flat Earth
stop
rotating
asking the same
around
question, please? Please stop asking the same question. We heard you. Thanks, Duncan. Okay, what you're describing,
anything
that means stop talking. Stop talking. I'm going to answer you. That means open your ears and close your mic, please.
Go ahead.
I'll wait till you put yourself on mute so you don't immediately interrupt me like you've just done.
No, I'm saying go ahead.
I don't need your permission. I need you to shut your mouth, and you've demonstrated incapable of doing so thus far. Therefore, until you go on mute, I'm going to demand you shut your mouth, and I'm not going to answer your question. If you want to be unreasonable, just stay with your mic wide open, and I'll ask the server operators to remove you for being unreasonable. Alternatively, put yourself on local mute. Now you're talking through me. Now that you're being belligerent, I'll have to ask the server moderators to shut you up. Good boy. Last chance. You asked how seasons work on a flat Earth model. Nobody here has claimed a model. That's a straw man. You're suggesting we have a model that you infer we should have. Straw man. That's the first thing. Second thing, when it becomes your claim of how Earth must create the seasons, you utilise the claim of orbital motion. Now, that orbital motion has come from Kepler, Copernicus, and Huygens. It's come down the line from the Roman Catholic Church, and the measurements that create those orbits that you suggest Earth must take part in are derived from flat Earth elevation angle measurements to the lights in the sky. Ergo, we create the heliocentric motion you're appealing to with flat Earth measurements. So after we create a globe for you to believe in, you're asking, we must use the motion of this globe created by Kepler to describe the seasons. So then we look at the globe you're inferring we must infer, create the seasons, and its origins are flat Earth measurements. Ergo, the seasons you describe are reliant on Earth being measured flat to create that paradigm that you infer create the seasons. That's a globe, heliocentric, that's Earth moving around the sun paradigm. That paradigm's created with flat Earth angle measurements, sir. I'm done. Did he disappear? Did he go? Unreal.
I wanted him to try to prove Earth rotation. Darn it.
Yeah, he disconnected as soon as he was muted.
Well, he went on local mute himself, and then I explained that his appeal to orbits is derived from flat Earth measurements. And then when I finished my statement and said I was done, then he dropped. Unreal.
Well, right before you were done talking, I saw him take him off local mute, so I muted him, and then he disconnected. Like he's going to interrupt the last 3 seconds of what you were saying.
Of course he was. I see. Thank you. Gotcha. So what you're saying is just before I'd finished the statement, he opened his mic to interrupt the conclusion. Of course he did. Then he got server muted and ran.
Yeah, I was ready for it. I figured he was going to do something like that, so I just moused over, just waiting.
Yeah, pricks. You're concluding the answer, right? He's appealed to orbits. They use a flat Earth. Once that gets concluded, it best be the case that that isn't concluded. I'll just yammer through the top of it, and then reassert. How do they work our flat Earth model over the top of it? Maybe. Yeah. Anyway, I was going to say thank you and goodbye a significant time ago. Thank you very much for having us, Discord Politics. You've been awesome as always. That's all right. See you next Friday. Yeah, if that's okay with you guys, hopefully I'll see you next Friday. We'll see.
See you next Friday.
Yeah,
sir.
for sure. We got Fridays blocked. If Fridays are blocked for this session, you know, they're
indeed
repeating event and everything.
Just double checking that I haven't worn out my welcome. Thank you very much again for having us. That was fun.
Yes, quite.
Indeed, Duncan, indeed.
Indeedy do, sir.
I was quiet the whole time, but I didn't, have anything to say or anything. You're like a well-oiled machine, no problem.
I'll take that as a compliment. Thank you very much.
It is, but it's also just, that's why I'm not talking too much. I don't have anything good to add, so till I do, just along for the ride.
One guy that said that everybody uses globes for navigation. I wanted to have somebody ask what happens, or what pilots pull out globes out of their pockets. But
Well, they'd just appeal to the one on the flight deck, wouldn't they? They'd say on this screen it shows a globe as they move around, or on the back of your headrest it's coming from their computer and that's using a globe, so therefore it's a globe. Because the diagram shows it's a globe. Well, where does that globe come from? That's not relevant.
I'm going to do this funny clip from Cobra Kai season 4 or something, one of the later seasons. Johnny's on the plane and he sees the map of they're heading, and their path is curved, but the map is flat. So he says, "Hey, tell the pilot to fly in a straight line. We're in a hurry here."
Right, because it's come from a Mercator projection. Indeedy. I am actually going to round out for proper. So, with that, I'm going to say another huge, massive, enormous thank you to the Politics Discord server for making today's live and after show possible. And, of course, a massive thank you again to my G Plus panel for making today's after show possible. Another thank you to all of you for liking, commenting, sharing, subscribing, joining as a member, and all that good stuff. I've been Nathan Oakley, and I'll see you all in the next video.